There it is.
Okay. All right, we good to go. See how we work with this eye thing today. All right, so we've been going over reasonable suspicion, which is, again, or reasonable suspicion versus probable cause, which is truly the main things you're supposed to be learning. That's what gets you at the initial stop. So if you don't know that, then that's where you get caught up. Hold on, where is the oh, okay, my bad. I thought I lost the page. All right, here we go. So yeah, that's how you get caught up. Is that reasonable suspicion? So the more comfortable you are in knowing your rights at the initial engagement, then the better off you're going to be, because that's where all the fuckery goes down. So again, we're going to do reviews over reasonable suspicion versus probable cause. And the reason we're doing that, again, is because of what I just said, but also because the situations vary quite a bit. From situation to situation, the perception of what reasonable suspicion may differ. So you need to know different situations on what is considered reasonable suspicion so that you know how to react if that situation happens to you. So let me share the screen. Oh, and then the other thing, I'm gonna let y'all share your screen, and then you're gonna have to look up some of your codes, your state codes, so that you guys can start to get familiar with how to look them laws up and learn them laws. Hold on, let me share the screen. All right. All right. So first video. So like I said, my eyesight is a little bad, so let me I think this might be it. So this is so a lot of some things I'm gonna show you today, again, is what not to do when you're what not to do when you're getting jacked up, even if you're confident. So like, even if you're confident in knowing the law, you still can get hemmed up a little bit. Like, you can get it's easy to get overconfident. So that's what we're about to show you today. We're about to show you a brother who was kind of overconfident, even though he may have been correct. Remember, you got to be right and correct at the same time. So hold on, where is it? Here we go.
Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. Today's video comes to us from West Des Moines Police Department in Iowa, and today we're going to cover solicitation, suspicion, and detention. So let's dive right in and audit the interaction.
Hi, sir. Yes, I'm Officer at the West Des Moines Police Department. The reason why I'm talking to you today is someone called in about you. Are you handing out flyers?
Officer Ray has been called to make contact with a suspicious person in the 5600 block of West Des Moines, where he finds 24-year-old Keelan Hill resting on a sidewalk. It is important to note that the caller reported Mr. Hill as being suspicious because he was wearing a hat and jacket on what was considered a warm day in Iowa. It's also important to note that the high temperature for that day was 67 degrees Fahrenheit, Officer Ray notices the flyers in Mr. Hill's lap and attempts to determine his business in the area.
What am I doing wrong? I didn't know. People were concerned.
Yeah, concerned for what?
Their neighborhoods.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, Ricky.
So it's not a big deal.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to figure out what we were concerned about.
Well, in West Des Moines, we have a soliciting ordinance. So if you're knocking on people's doors,
The city of West Des Moines defines a solicitor as any person who intends to make personal contact in an attempt to solicit monies or orders for goods, services, subscriptions, or merchandise to be delivered immediately or at a future date. It is later revealed that Mr. Hill was distributing campaign flyers for then U.S. Representative David Young. Mr. Hill is not in violation of the Des Moines Solicitation Ordinance and appears to be knowledgeable about what constitutes solicitation.
Yeah, soliciting is what? Offering services.
Yeah.
I'm not offering a service.
okay.
Okay, so with that being said, I'd like you to leave me alone, sir. I've not broken any laws.
Well, I'm still doing an investigation because if you're recording me, I'm still recording too, so it's okay.
Investigating what, sir?
A suspicious person, they called in about you.
Okay.
You have an ID?
Right off the bat, what is homeboy doing that's a little faulty? Or is he doing anything that's faulty? Yo, somebody answer, goddammit. I'm not talking to myself.
He's a little fidgety.
Mad today. I'll cut this damn fucking class off. Shit. Go ahead.
He's a little fidgety.
He talking to the officer?
And he got up and took some steps backwards.
Well, he did do all of those things, but I'm saying, so is what he's doing, is it right or wrong? That should be a better question. Is his demeanor, the way he's acting, is he totally within his rights to act that way when that dude rolled up on him for sitting down, or should he have acted another way?
Yeah, he could act that way, but there's another way you can handle it.
I think because the police officer pulled up and said he had a call about somebody was soliciting, he should have just remained in the same spot and choose to engage or not engage the officer.
Right. So you're pretty much there. So the call gave the officer what?
RS.
What?
Reasonable suspicion.
What you breaking down initials and shit, nigga? You speak articulate. RS. Yes, reasonable suspicion. Based on that, was homeboy's reaction? What was it correct or no?
No.
He says no. Why not?
Because he had reasonable suspicion.
So how should homeboy have acted? What should he have done?
He should have asked the officer, did he have reasonable suspicion, then moved on to the next questions. After the officer asked, he could choose to answer him or not answer him.
I think he did say, did I commit a crime or something? Well, maybe he's about to say it, but what he's doing, so let's go back a little bit.
Yep.
Delivered immediately, campaign flyers, or at a future date. Services, subscriptions, or merchandise to be delivered immediately.
Let's go back to the initial.
Hill's lap and attempts to determine his business in the area.
What am I doing wrong?
I didn't know. People were concerned.
Yeah, concerned for what?
Their neighborhoods.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, Ricky.
So it's not a big deal.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to figure out what we were concerned about.
Well, in West Des Moines, we have a soliciting ordinance. So if you're knocking on people's doors,
The city of West Des Moines defines a solicitor as any person who intends to make personal contact in an attempt to solicit monies or orders for goods, services, subscriptions, or merchandise to be delivered immediately or at a future date. It is later revealed that Mr. Hill was distributing campaign flyers for then U.S. Representative David Young. Mr. Hill is not in violation of the Des Moines Solicitation Ordinance and appears to be knowledgeable about what constitutes solicitation.
Yeah, soliciting is what, offering services?
Yeah.
I'm not offering a service.
okay.
Okay, so with that being said, I'd like you to leave me alone, sir. I've not broken any laws.
Well, I'm still doing an investigation because if you're recording me, I'm still recording too, so it's okay.
Investigating what, sir?
A suspicious person, they called in about you.
Okay.
Do you have an ID with you?
No, I don't.
Do you have your name? Have your name?
No. Am I under arrest?
No.
Okay.
Officer Ray has established that Mr. Hill is not soliciting and has business in the area and has no reason to suspect that Mr. Hill has committed a crime. Officer Ray's investigation should have ended there. At this point, Mr. Hill's interaction with Officer Ray is entirely consensual, and Mr. Hill has no legal obligation to continue to speak with the officer. And bear in mind that this entire interaction is solely based on the fact that Mr. Hill is wearing a hat and jacket.
Well, I'm investigating.
Then
What?
you have no reason to be talking to me, right?
I can actually, yes.
And the other thing, what's the other thing? The thing this dude just did.
He put them papers under his jacket. Looked like he was reaching for something.
Yep. There you go. That motherfucker could have pulled that gun and blew his ass away. Like, dude, you wearing a big ass jacket with a hoodie on. Somebody called in a suspicious. Somebody hit in a suspicious call. I'm engaging with you. You have an attitude when I walk up to you and engage with you. Then when I'm talking to you, you reach up under your jacket, which I have not established. You don't have any any deadly weapons. So right there, homeboy, and again, he's young. He's 24 years old. So he just full of fucking new testosterone and fucking don't know what to do with it. He done seen a couple of videos and he trying to roll and flex his rights. Which is why age is so fucking valuable, because you understand that you got to pick your battles. When he did right there, he could have got him shot right on the back. At the very least, tased.
He's full of piss and vinegar.
Yep.
Person. Someone called in about
Suspicious how?
a neighbor called over here, so I don't understand why you're being difficult about this.
I'm not being difficult about anything because I haven't done anything out of the way.
Okay.
So with that being said, I'll go about my business.
Okay, I'm not done with you yet. You're not free to go.
Have I done it? Have I broken any laws?
40-55. Can you send me one this way, please? You've been
Have I
cooperative.
broken any laws, sir?
I'm talking to you. I'm not done. I'm investigating a suspicious person.
You have a nice day, sir.
Stop. Stop now.
For what?
I can detain you.
Mr. Hill makes an attempt to exit the conversation when Officer Ray announces that he is unlawfully detaining him. In order for Officer Ray to detain Mr. Hill, he must be able to articulate a crime that Mr. Hill has committed. The state of Iowa is not a stop and identify state, meaning that Officer Ray cannot lawfully command Mr. Hill to produce identification if no crime has been committed.
Stop.
For what?
Because you're not listening. I'm investigating
No.
a suspicious person. Stop
Sir,
now.
Sir, have I broken any laws?
Stop.
Tell me what laws I've broken.
I told you to stop.
I don't have to stop.
Yes.
You know I don't. Either arrest me, tell me what laws I've
Can
broken,
you
or get away from me.
step it up? He's being uncooperative and trying to walk away from me. He won't identify himself as a suspicious person. I'm investigating.
I know more. With that being said, if I've not broken any laws, you have no reason to.
Stop.
Can I ask you one more time?
I'm going to tell you to stop.
For what?
Because I'm talking to you and
you're not done this wrong.
I just told you I'm investigating who you
You're
are.
harassing me.
5700 block of Aston. Stop. I'm telling you to stop, and I'm not going to tell you again.
And what will you do if I don't stop?
I will detain you.
Detain me for what?
You're not listening.
Not listening to an officer is not a crime if you have not already committed a crime or are about to commit a crime. In this instance, Officer Ray is not issuing lawful orders and cannot detain Mr. Hill simply because someone in the neighborhood finds him suspicious.
Now, I'm gonna push back a little and be an advocate, little Beelzebub advocate. Was the police officer completely in the wrong?
Yeah.
Somebody said yeah.
No. Nah.
Y'all say nah. Well, how wasn't he? If he wasn't completely in the wrong, then what did the officer do that was right, or what was the citizen right here, the brother? What was he doing that was stopping the officer from committing or doing his job?
He was.
And either way, if you whatever way you're for, you got to give me an argument either way.
Well, the brother was walking away and escalating the situation.
Okay, I'm gonna ask this question: under reasonable suspicion, what does the police officer have the right to do?
Under reasonable suspicion, he has a right to conduct the investigation.
What does that investigation entail?
Find out whether you're in the process of committing a crime, about to commit a crime, or have already committed a crime.
Right, and how does he do that?
Got to ask me questions.
Right, and what do those questions entail? What make one of those questions be?
About what he was doing there, if he was soliciting.
Right, he asked those. But I'm saying, what does the officer have the right to ask?
The name?
Yep. So, because he didn't ask him his name, and because he didn't ask his name, and the brother got up and walked away before he did that, was the police officer completely in the wrong?
No.
He's the only no?
Yeah, no, I said no originally.
Oh, okay. So again, this is where you had the gray area. So the brother was right when he was saying that I'm not soliciting, so therefore you really have no right to engage with me. However, he wasn't correct in allowing the officer to complete his investigation, because the officer had a viable reason to ask him questions, to be there, because he got a call. A call amounts to reasonable suspicion, at least enough to investigate the call. So when he got there, the things that entail that are entailed in that investigation are they're able to ask you certain questions to determine whether you're, what you're doing, whether you have committed a crime, about to commit a crime, or are committing or about to commit a crime. The other one is they're able to ask you your name. And because homeboy got up and walked away before the officer was able to do that, he didn't complete his investigation, his reasonable suspicion investigation. So homeboy is kind of in the wrong, even though he's right.
Because technically he's being detained.
Huh?
Because he's being detained.
Technically, under reasonable suspicion, he was being detained. Because the officer walked up and told him immediately. He didn't flex on him. He as soon as he got out of the car, he told him while he was there. Like he didn't front on him. He didn't, what are you doing here? He told him immediately. He said, how you doing, man? I got a call, about suspicion. He told him immediately why he was there. He was up front with him. Like, nigga, somebody called about a nigga in a hoodie and a booty boot, so I got to investigate. That's his job. If he don't do that, he's not doing his job.
The main problem that homeboy did was he asked if he'd broken any laws. Cop told him no. He never asked if he was free to go.
Right.
He never asked if he was free to go.
Therefore, when he walked away, he's technically resisting arrest.
Well, he's obstructing.
Well, obstructing, yeah.
He's obstructing justice first, because he's not resisting, or he's not been told he's under arrest. But he is obstructing justice. If a police officer is conducting an investigation of reasonable suspicion or a Terry stop, and you walk away before that officer has completed that investigation, that's obstruction of justice. So, or until you've obtained the permission from the officer to leave, by asking, are you detaining me? Am I free to go? He did no such thing. He just thought when the officer walked up and said, I got a call about somebody soliciting out here, and he said, well, I'm not soliciting. And so, but just because you said that, the officer hadn't ascertained whether you were doing that or not. Like, he hadn't seen, like, did you show him your flyers? Like, did you show him, like, what you were actually doing? Like, he has to do that stuff. So to determine, like, so if I got a call that you're out here soliciting, these are the residents that don't want you, how do I know you're not knocking on people's door trying to sell them shit? I don't know if you're doing that or not. As speaking as the officer, I don't know if you're doing, just because you say you're not doesn't mean that you're not. So I have to conduct the investigation to where I'm satisfied that you're not doing that, not because you say that you're not, that I'm supposed to take your word for it. So that's how homeboy was in the wrong. That's what I mean by being young and getting a little bit of information is bad, because what I'm saying, he got a lot of gangster in him. Like, he's definitely would be hardcore in about another 10 years. Like, you ain't gonna be able to fuck with this nigga. But right now, he too young and don't know what he fucking with.
A suspicious person.
Suspicious person. Have I broken any laws?
That's not the point.
Any laws?
Someone called you and it's a suspicious person.
Okay, and you can be a suspicious person, Mr.
Really?
Ray.
Really?
I feel like you're a suspicious person.
How would I be suspicious?
Here, Mr. Hill ever so eloquently demonstrates the flawed logic which Officer Ray is operating under, and it flies right over the officer's head. You are not suspicious simply because it is someone's opinion that you are suspicious. If that were the case, then anyone could call the police on anyone for anything whatsoever.
You look suspicious to me.
Okay, how would that be?
You're a white man. You're suspicious to me.
I'm suspicious to you because I'm a white person?
Yeah, with a gun. You're suspicious to me.
No,
now
stop.
Get away from me.
If you are ever unlawfully detained, it is a good idea to obey the officer's orders at the time. Your battle against unlawful actions taken by the police should be waged in the courtroom, not in the streets. Slow down, calm your mind, and approach the situation with a measured cadence. Not only will it help you later in the courtroom, but it could prevent further misconduct or even save your life. Avoid becoming enraged and prevent further misconduct or even save your life. Avoid becoming enraged and conduct yourself in a collected, poised, and civilized manner, but do not surrender to the intimidation of any government official.
I haven't.
What's the difference between let me see, what's another word? What's the difference between illegal detention and illegal arrest?
I'll take a stab at it.
Go ahead.
Illegal detention is when a police officer stops you and doesn't have reasonable suspicion or probable cause, they're just harassing you. An illegal arrest is when they illegally arrest you.
You can't find the word. How was they legally arresting you? You almost had it. It was right there.
If the police handcuff you, I don't know.
Anybody get a stab at it? He was real close. Y'all want to piggyback what he was doing, or y'all want to try no whole new route? Yo, anyone? Nobody else want to try to stab at it? Y'all got to do this eventually, man. Y'all can't be timid and shit. Y'all got to develop confidence. So even if you're wrong, you got to just be wrong. Shit, ain't no problem with being wrong. Sure, you've been wrong before. You ain't died from it. So shit, be wrong. But you got to start answering questions and being confident in answering those questions. Stop being scared. Because look at you got to get the confidence of this little nigga with the with the actual knowledge and wisdom of what I got. is the difference. So what's the difference between illegal arrest and illegal detention?
So legal detention is when you have suspicion, and legal arrest when you have the facts or evidence.
Is when you have the facts?
Or when the officer has
if he has the facts, that makes it illegal?
No, legal, make it legal. That's when he could put the cuffs on you.
Okay. So clean it up. What are you saying? You got to be articulate, man. When you're talking to these police officers, you can't be fumbling, because if they see you fumbling, they're going to take that as you being scared, as you hiding something, as suspicion. So you got to be really clear with your words. This is an exercise while I interact with you guys and get you guys to respond like that, because you got to get used to talking to people, you know what I'm saying, when they're coming at you with these questions, because you know what I'm saying, you got and the confidence is going to come from you knowing the law. Like if you sat down and you read that from the government website, you know what the heck that shit says. There's no reason for you to be scared, because no matter what the fuck this nigga say, you read it with your own eyes, and you know what the hell it says. You done broke it down with a goddamn law dictionary and the law cases, and you know what it says. So when you're talking to this dude, you're gonna have the confidence, which is what this motherfucker, he talking like he does have that confidence. It's like he has done that, and he has not. But you know what I'm saying? So real quick, so we can keep it moving, because you guys got to look up some stuff. The difference between illegal detention and illegal arrest was the question. Illegal detention involves or entails when they have no suspicion. If they detain you without suspicion, without reasonable suspicion. Illegal arrest is when they arrest you without probable cause. That's it. Remember, two things you have. They need to entail two different things, or the two laws entail two different things. So reasonable suspicion is detainment. Probable cause, arrest. Remember, detain, arrest are not the same thing. And so y'all need to know which is which, because when these niggas arrest you and call it detainment, you have a right to sue or take their bond. And so they do it so much now, but they only do it to melanated people.
Right.
Mostly, I'll show you a video today where they did do it to a Caucasian dude, and the Caucasian dude, he was chilling, but they did it to him because they knew they fucked up, and they were trying to find a way to get him to incriminate himself. So they were trying to piss him off and get him angry, but he was so calm, nothing happened. But they do the same thing to you as well, but they think that you don't know shit, and handcuffs just come with the territory. No, nigga, you can't handcuff me if you're not arresting me. But again, that's in California. I advise y'all to look that up in your own state. Arrest, and we're gonna learn how to go look up them laws today. But back to old boy.
Anything out of the way. You can't arrest me. Arrest me right now if you want to.
Here, turn around for your hand back.
For what?
Because you're not. Stop. Turn around.
What have I done wrong?
Because you're not listening to me.
What have I done wrong, sir?
Get your hand. Get the phone out of my face. Because you're not. I'm investigating a suspicious
Sir, what have
person.
I done wrong? I'm not suspicious. I haven't done anything. I'm walking up the street. I haven't done anything wrong. I don't have any.
Have called on you,
sir. I don't care if anyone has called on me. This is not their area.
This is a public roadway. So this
okay. It's a public roadway. That means that I have the right to be on this roadway. Yes or no?
Everybody has the right to be on the public roadway.
So I am not a.
But you don't have a right to be on anybody else's property or curtilage.
I'm not on anybody's property.
Why would someone call it in?
That's their concern.
So they're concerned.
Hello, listen, I'm recording right now because this police officer just walked up on me saying I'm a suspicious person. He was going to detain me for whatever reasons.
Because you're not listening.
Listen, so I don't know how y'all do things here, but
where are you from?
So please get off the phone while I'm trying to record. Thank you. Sir, listen to me. Listen to me. I work for somebody that will have. Look, listen to me. I work for somebody who will get on your mother ass. So I'm going to ask you one more time.
Okay, actually, using obscenities in front of public people is a crime. So
Here is probably the only point in the video where Officer Ray is correct about anything. Disorderly conduct is a highly subjective law that varies in its discrepancies and intensities from state to state and municipality to municipality. Iowa Code 723.4 states that anything that is said that is likely to provoke a violent reaction can be considered disorderly conduct. Officer Ray could interpret Mr. Hill's vulgarities as a threat or a form of verbal abuse and arrest him. Remember to remain calm. Officers are usually looking for a reason to arrest you. Don't give them one.
Listen to me.
Now, he said that was the only thing, that was the only right thing the officer said in this whole interaction. That's not true. The officer's just not confident in what he's saying, which is why he's fumbling. So the officer's saying, because you didn't do what I told you to do, I'm doing an investigation, but he doesn't know enough to articulate why he needs to stop. Like saying, look, you didn't let me finish my investigation. You can't walk away. When I'm legally conducting an investigation, you can't walk away until I dismiss you. That's what the officer's supposed to say. That's what he legally was able to do. He had the legal right to do that before dude just start walking away saying, I didn't do anything. Well, that's what we're establishing right now. So again, it's important to know your rights, because if somebody else does come there who is savvy like that, while he's acting like he's so confident, and this nigga done went to law school fucking for 20 years, and he your ass railroaded.
I'm gonna tell you.
I don't care who you work for.
You don't care who I work for. The person I work for pays you. So
Okay,
I'm gonna tell
fine.
you one more time to get away from me. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Get away from me.
Yeah.
Now, do you see the arrogant laugh? You better back up, nigga. Like, Mom, I work for a councilman. That's probably like who he worked for, a councilman or some shit like that, some public official. And he just got all the balls in the world. Nigga, he know what he doing.
He's still walking away from me, being uncooperative and refusing to identify himself.
I don't have to do anything. I don't have to identify myself. You don't have to do anything. If I have not broken any laws, I don't have to.
What's down? We're 50. You can ask them.
I ask you. If I've not broken a law, you have no reason to detain me. If you had a reason to detain me, you would have detained me already.
I can, actually. Yes, I can.
For what?
Because you're not listening to my directions. You're not following. Turn around right now.
Sir.
Turn around. I'm done.
So you're going to arrest me?
I'm detaining you.
For what? For what? For what?
Because you're not listening to what I'm saying.
I just want to show y'all something. Do y'all see the conditioning that these police officers still have over niggas? The whole time, this nigga is super confident that this nigga is right. He talking crazy and he talking shit like a motherfucker. But what is he saying? What is he calling the officer?
Sir.
Sir. So if you that confident that these niggas violating your rights, why you giving this nigga that respect? Fuck him. But that's the conditioning that niggas have with police officers. You don't see no white, you don't see no Caucasians doing that. When they feel like their rights are violated, they're cursing these goddamn officers out with no repute. But again, the conditioning that has been, spread throughout the hood. Excuse me, conditioning that's been spread throughout the hood. So even though homeboy think he gangstering off, you still bitching up. You sir, you sirring off right now. like that, like you calling him sir is about to soften him up or something. Nigga, fuck him. If this he's already on his he pushing his line. So again, it's important to know the law. Look all this, sir and this and that. And say, fuck all that. Know the law. That'll back his ass up. All these nice shit.
Do not be resistant towards me.
All right.
I'll back my car.
All right. You
I'm
done it.
detained.
You have done it.
Yep.
You're a fool. You are a real fool, sir. And could you tell me what I am handcuffed for?
Yes, because you wouldn't follow my directives.
Again, Officer Ray has not issued any lawful orders here, because no crime has been committed, and this is an unlawful detention.
Your directives, and what were your directives?
I told you to stop numerous times.
And I asked you for what?
And I asked you to identify yourself because I'm investigating a suspicious person. Someone had worried.
Worried about what? Have I tried to enter anyone's property?
They were concerned, so yes, you're gonna.
Okay, no, I have not. Show me evidence where I've entered someone's property without them knowing. Show me evidence.
There was 2 calls on you about entering people's areas of their house.
No, there weren't.
No, there weren't. According to the Des Moines Register, the local paper that acquired the department's call log, there was only one caller, and they only reported him as suspicious because of his attire. Whether this was a miscommunication between Officer Ray and the dispatch or simply a fabricated statement, it still does not justify the detention of Mr. Hill. If anything, it is a testament to the fact that the West Des Moines Police Department should have a more strenuous vetting process to their calls rather than relaying fractured information to officers and investigating citizens for not wearing the proper attire for the weather.
Listen to me, sir. I can tell you for sure I have not done anything wrong. I have not broken any laws. So if I suggest you let me out of these handcuffs immediately.
Could you
tell him to take me out of these handcuffs? I have not broken any laws.
Okay, did you stop when he told you to?
No, he kept walking away.
Then that's interference.
That is not interference or obstruction of justice. In order for interference of an investigation to take place, an articulable crime must have been committed. No crime has been committed here. Mr. Hill also maintains a Fifth Amendment right to silence.
Now, again, it's not an articulable crime. It's acts that you were doing that led him to believe a crime may occur. So let's be clear. And so that's the one thing with this dude, with watching the audit. Just make sure you listen to his words, because sometimes he goes over a lot of the information, the same information in different videos. If you watch the stuff on your own, if you watch it with me, I'll give you the breakdown. But if you watch it on your own, homeboy sometimes will contradict himself, because he'll say the officer is not required to tell you what crime he believes you're committing. He said that before the video, but then he just walked up and he said that he said that the officer hadn't established that this dude was committing a crime. He said that he never said which crime he believed that he was committing. He didn't have to say that. All he has to do is articulate what actions the person is doing to believe that he suspicion that he may commit a crime, has committed a crime, or is committing a crime. So him sitting out there in the middle of the day with big ass hoodie and big ass jacket, walking up and down the street in a quiet street where it doesn't look like anyone walks. Like, look at that street. It's like no one walks. He's the only person you see walking up and down that street. So if I'm in a neighborhood where usually no one walks, and I see a person walking up and down the street and he's wearing a hoodie and a jacket, a big ass jacket, and just to be clear, he's probably not of the demographic who lives in that area. All of those things lead to suspicion. And so the officer did actually have reasonable suspicion to engage him and asked him his name. But the officer didn't ask him his name. See, the officer got thrown off. See, the officer, he's thrown off because when the dude just walked away, now it became a pissing contest. Who has more authority? And the officer, now he forgot all the things that led to him to have authority, all the laws that gave him his authority. He just wants you to listen to what he's saying now. He don't give a fuck about anything else. And then the brother is just, he thinks because he works for some city councilman or whoever he works for, that he's well versed in the law. Like, I know my rights. Again, young, dumb, full of you know what.
There's no legal obligation to aid Officer Ray in his investigation.
You're under arrest.
Interfering for what?
Interference.
Been committed.
And that's interference.
That is not interference or obstruction of justice. In order for interference of an investigation to take place, An articulable crime must have been committed. No crime has been committed here. Mr. Hill also maintains a Fifth Amendment right to silence. He is under no legal obligation to aid Officer Ray in his investigation.
You're under arrest. Interference for what? Interference. You just
You were
the lawful order.
You were sitting right there.
What does he need? Articulable what? What's the phrase? What's the actual legal phrase? He needed articulable what? He didn't need to articulate a crime. He needed articulable what?
Facts.
Facts. That led him to believe a crime may be committed, or a crime may be in the process of being committed, or blah, blah, blah. So again, dude is not really correct what he's saying when he's breaking this shit down right here. Now, some of his videos are older than the others, and so he may have come across new law that led him to change up what he said in later videos. So this may be an older video. I don't know. But, you know, it says June 2019. So, you know, who knows? But again, if y'all, just so y'all know, whoever's watching this video, y'all know that, you know, if an officer is investigating or is doing an investigatory stop to see whether you committed a crime, they don't have to tell you the crime. They just have to tell you what you were doing that led them to believe that you might be committing a crime, or have, or will.
You stop 4 or 5 times to identify yourself because there is a suspicious person car, and I'm investigating that.
Investigating what? I have not done anything. Okay. You can't just run up on anyone and just say, hey, you look suspicious. Okay. He told you to stop.
As well, just real quick, as well, when they're conducting that investigation, excuse me, they're allowed to ask you your name and your name and your date of birth. And if they suspect, and now this is another thing, they just can't pat you down for weapons either. They have to, there has to be something that leads them to believe that you have weapons. They have to be suspicious that you have weapons. Again, articulable facts that led them to believe that you have weapons. It's just not just based on the fact that you're under a Terry stop and they're allowed to pat you down. No, they still need reasonable suspicion that you actually have a weapon, or patting you down is against the law. Now for him, this motherfucker got a big ass jacket on, reaching his jacket and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? They could easily drum up some reasonable suspicion with dude.
We had calls on you, like I told you.
You're practicing stop and frisk right now.
No,
you're under arrest. So. Under arrest for what? Under arrest for what? What have I done wrong?
You didn't identify yourself.
Okay.
You didn't stop when we asked you to.
Okay.
Okay, this is what I'm asking. That's all I'm asking for is your name and date of birth, man.
All right. Okay.
So I can log someone.
Okay.
So what's the issue here, man?
There is an issue. I
Sit
haven't
back
done
here.
anything wrong.
Sit back here.
I have not done a thing.
Why would you not listen to me?
Because I have not done anything wrong, sir. You let me out of these handcuffs immediately.
Now, let me out of these handcuffs immediately. What is that gonna do?
Not a damn thing.
A referee called a basketball player for a foul. He said, change that call right now. What's gonna happen? Not a goddamn thing. Not a damn thing. Now, it is within the officer's discretion to let you in and out of them cuffs. However, you trying to gangster off without being backed by the law of why he needs to let you out of those cuffs, it ain't happening. Y'all in a pissing contest. This motherfucker think he more gangster and he got more power than you. And he ain't trying to have that shit questioned, especially on camera. So unless you fully loaded with adamantium vibranium bullets, you ain't doing it.
Sit back here.
Okay.
All the way in. I just want to log him and get him out of here because people were concerned because he was.
Put him in custody. If he's going to walk away, don't let him play that game. He's just going to keep playing it next time. He's just going to think that he can now walk away from cops. So if he doesn't want to stop, he just doesn't have to.
That's because you don't have to. These two officers are completely ignorant of the laws of their state and lack the proper field training and knowledge of laws and ordinances to be operating independently with the gun and badge.
Now, really quick. Homeboy is stupid, but he right and stupid at the same time. what he said was you didn't identify yourself. So they were able to to get him in because of that. They were able to arrest him because of that. Now, the fact that he's talking about now has nothing to do with that. You reasonable suspicion identification. He's just talking about when a police officer tells you to stop or tells you to do something, you need to do it. Now he's completely in the wrong. He's on some we're the power, we're the authority, and I promise you, he looked like he on some old Caucasian-y. I'm the Caucasian power. Remember they're in Iowa. Remember where they are. So
Kev. So since they arrested him, even though it was illegal, they could go on his pockets and everything because they got him under arrest.
They didn't arrest him illegally. It was legal. He didn't identify himself under reasonable suspicion investigation. Under a Terry stop investigation, you got to identify yourself. He did.
All right. So when he first asked him, when he walked up on him the first time, he didn't identify himself.
Right. Well, no. What happened was he didn't let the officer get to that point. He just started walking away. he didn't ask, when the officer immediately walked up and stated, I'm conducting an investigation because someone called. He was completely professional. He told him
right.
Like he didn't just walk up to you because you was a nigga. He said, look, somebody called because the dude with a big jacket, hoodie, whatever, walking out, just suspicious. I gotta investigate. So there are things that he has a checklist that he has to run down when he's investigating. He got to ask certain questions. Make sure you ain't doing some shit.
Right, and the brother asked him another question, and that's when they got into about the law, and they started walking. So, like you said earlier, the cop got thrown off. So,
right. Well, he said no. What happened was he said I got a call on solicitation. I got a call. He said I got a call that was somebody's around here suspicious soliciting, and then he said, doesn't soliciting involve offering services? And then he said, yeah. He says that's not. He said I'm not doing that. So you can go about your way. Now,
right.
Act like the officer was supposed to take his word for it. The officer has to, he has to investigate, make sure. Once he's doing the investigation, your word is not reason enough for him to stop the investigation. he has to be satisfied, to his satisfaction. He has to be to his ability to understand that you're not committing a crime in order for him to be able to leave. Not you. Like, I ain't committing no crime. Oh, sure. Well, I believe you. I'm out. like you got a motherfucking 45 in your back pocket, nigga, getting ready to rob a fucking family. You're in the you know what I'm saying? So again, it's you know what I'm saying, it's walking that line and understanding that police officers do have a job. These niggas just ain't out here to railroad, you know what I'm saying, everybody all the time. Even though that's right. The case, they do actually have a job to do. And so, you know what I'm saying, when they walk up and they're actually legitimately doing their job, let them do it. Just know that you know where to stop them. You know where to stop them. Now, homeboy didn't know where to stop him. He didn't know the law like you think he knows. And boom, and that allowed them, because when he walked away without them finishing the investigation, he did obstruct justice.
Okay. All right. So by him walking away, and it didn't allow the officers to finish their investigation.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. Got you.
The officer has to tell you that he's finished his investigation first. You can't say, well, you finished your investigation, nigga. Like if it's established that the investigation is legal, then the officer is the one who says when the investigation is over. Or you say it by, are you detaining me, or am I free to go? You can do that. You can speed it up by saying, yo, am I free to go? But the officer is the one who says when the detention is finished. Not you, based off your limited understanding of the law, but his limited understanding of the law. Obviously.
And the only thing he asked was, did I break any laws? And cop told him no, and then he walked off. He never asked if he was being detained or if he was free to go.
Right.
At all. So, and then not only that, the cop just right up based off of your say so, you're not committing any law. However, I've not investigated that and come to that conclusion for myself because you haven't let me see anything. I haven't looked in the flyers. I ain't looked at. I don't know your name. I don't know. We haven't established anything. We've established absolutely nothing. Only the fact that you told me you're not soliciting, and I'm supposed to believe you.
Hey, Kev, could I ask you another quick question?
Mhm.
Now, if the situation was that the brother, if he was under another status, would he be going through the same thing? The officer still had to, go by the same procedure, or he could just ask for a magistrate or a white shirt and take it from there?
If he was being arrested under the investigation, now if you're being investigated and you want to and you want to go see a magistrate, that's fine. But if you're just being investigated, you don't got to give up your name or nothing.
Right.
I mean,
okay.
until he's established reasonable suspicion. If that's the case, then you can give him your name.
Okay.
If he's legally there doing a legal Terry stop, then you have to give him your name. Even if you, and the thing is, you can say, as a person who has their status changed, and you don't want to do that. You can say all of that. You can say, I don't want to give you my name and this and that, and then they will try to arrest you, right? Then upon your arrest, you say, take me to see a magistrate, and then that's when you will explain your status to the magistrate, or you ask the magistrate for a continuance so that you can submit a special appearance.
Okay.
To challenge the jurisdiction of the court. And if they deny that to you, then you just pull the magistrate's bond and place that and put that on lien.
Right. Thank you.
So he was sitting right here. I just said, hey, there was a concern for you. Why?
Officer Ray proceeds to turn off his body cam before he reiterates his perspective to the other officers. This is why it is important to film any interaction with the police yourself, because you have no control over what is recorded or not recorded and whether or not it is readily accessible. Never trust police officers to properly document any interaction, and always be vigilant about your right to record them regardless of what they say. Today, Officer Ray gets a big fat F for failing to know pretty much any of the laws of his state and pursuing an illegal detention and arrest. Mr. Hill gets a B- for knowing his laws and ordinances, but also allowing his ego to cloud his judgment and ultimately get him arrested. Mr. Hill was officially charged with harassment of a public official. A jury quickly acquitted Mr. Hill of that charge, and as usual, the West Des Moines Police Department conducted its own investigation into the matter and found that its officers did nothing wrong.
See, he didn't charge him. This shows you the officer don't know any law at all. The officer could have charged him with obstruction of justice, so leaving the scene before he finished his investigation. That would have stood. But but harassing a public official, nigga, you ain't getting that one. This shows you that these police officers don't know shit. He was actually fully within the right to do what he did to the brother. But because he didn't even know the law himself, he was just acting on, you supposed to do what the fuck I say. He didn't even know. So he had to make up another reason why he arrested him. But he was actually in the right the first time in the first place. This shows you how dumb these people are. Crazy. All right, let's see. All right, let's see. Man, if there's one thing y'all do, get reasonable suspicion down packed. Is this the one? Oh yeah, let me watch this. Get the reasonable suspicion versus probable cause. Get that down packed. If you do, you will pretty much smack most of these police officers at the stop, because none of them really know it that well. What they know is, you scared, I'm the police, I got a gun, you do what the fuck I say. That's what they know. Some of them are able to pull up some laws, but most of them don't know the follow-up to those laws. They only know, they vaguely know it or shit like that. But if you start hitting these motherfuckers, like homeboy, like there was one, I think we saw it last week. And then he put and this is before his mom came out. I don't know if it was last week.
The young boy.
Yeah, when the young dude, when his mom came out to the stop. But before that, they put homeboy in handcuffs and arrested him. He said, "I'm not arresting you. We're not arresting you. We're just detaining you. We're just Now, if homeboy knew better, he would have known that he was actually being arrested. When you throw handcuffs on a person, you're being arrested, and they would have been able to get some action behind it. So, again, knowing those laws.
Welcome to Audit the Audit. On Kelly's channel, be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. Let's dive right in and audit the interaction. On the night of February 19th, 2018, Aurora resident Darshawn Kelly was having a conversation with his cousin on the outskirts of a nearby apartment complex where he was contacted by several officers of the Aurora Police Department.
Okay. Sir, white shirt, sit down, please. Sit down. Sit down.
I also cannot sit.
You can sit. Sit down, please.
Turn
around. Both of you face that direction.
What?
Right
For
now.
what?
Turn around.
For what?
Face that direction.
For what?
Hands on your head.
For what? No, I know my rights. For what?
In the 1981 case of Michigan v. Summers, the Supreme Court held that probable cause inherently carries with it the limited authority to detain the occupants of a premises while a proper search is conducted. This ruling essentially authorized police to detain nearby citizens wherever a crime had occurred until their innocence or involvement was proven or disproven. In 2013, the Supreme Court amended the Summers ruling in the case of Bailey v. United States by declaring a detention is limited to the immediate vicinity of the premises to be searched and does not apply when a recent occupant of the premises was detained at a point beyond reasonable understanding of the immediate vicinity of the premises in question.
Did y'all get that? First of all, look at those two cases. If y'all not writing them two cases down, y'all full of shit.
I just screenshotted it.
Uh-huh. All right, y'all hear what he just said? Basically, these police officers, when the crime has been committed, they'll use that to try to stop niggas in the vicinity, around the area. But those court cases have ruled they have basically shrunk that area to within a certain few feet of where the crime happened. So like, if I don't like live in an apartment complex or like next door or some shit like that, or like right next to where the crime is happening, you can't stop me. Now I can't be down here walking on the street and you say, well, two houses down, some shit just happened, and then you got to stop. You can't do that. So watch, I let him explain it again.
Established to detain nearby citizens.
For what? No, I know my rights. For what?
In the 1981 case of Michigan v. Summers, the Supreme Court held that probable cause inherently carries with it the limited authority to detain the occupants of a premises while a proper search is conducted. This ruling essentially authorized police to detain nearby citizens wherever a crime had occurred until their innocence or involvement was proven or disproven. In 2013, the Supreme Court amended the Summers ruling in the case of Bailey v. United States by declaring a detention is limited to the immediate vicinity of the premises to be searched and does not apply when a recent occupant of the premises was detained at a point beyond reasonable understanding of the immediate vicinity of the premises in question. This
y'all get so did y'all hear what he just said?
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody explain it back to me.
Like if a crime has been committed in the area, only the vicinity of the place, they can't stop you.
And there's a whole lot of other shit in there.
So they can't arrest you or detain you.
No, that was right. We established that. If you they can't if you unless you were in the vicinity of where it happened, they can't arrest you. But what else did they say? There was two things. It was twofold. Not only can they not arrest you if you're in the vicinity, but if you live where the crime happened and you're found away from that, if you're found close to it, they still can't arrest you. Watch, go back. Y'all got to listen for the law. Legal terminology is very important.
A step.
Watch.
The Summers ruling.
Go back over to
Citizens. Michigan v. Summers, the Supreme Court held that probable cause inherently carries with it the limited authority to detain the occupants of a premises while a proper search is conducted.
Detain the occupants of a premises while a search is being conducted. So that's the apartment or the apartment building.
Ruling essentially authorized police to detain while a proper search is conducted. This ruling essentially authorized police to detain nearby citizens wherever a crime had occurred until their innocence or involvement was proven or disproven. In 2013, the Supreme Court amended the Summers ruling in the case of Bailey v. United States by declaring a detention is limited to the immediate vicinity of the premises to be searched and does not apply when a recent occupant of the premises was detained at a point beyond reasonable understanding of the immediate vicinity of the premises in question.
So that means even if you lived there when where some shit happened and you weren't around that area in the immediate vicinity of where the shit happened, they can't detain you.
Beyond reasonable understanding. When a recent occupant of the premises was detained at a point beyond reasonable understanding of the immediate vicinity of the premises in question. This ruling.
Go back. I want y'all to hear that again.
Yeah, quick question, Kev.
Go back and hear this one more time. Yeah, go ahead.
When they say reasonable understanding, what are they saying? What are they meaning by that?
You're gonna have to look. You would have to look that up in the ordinance in each. That would be determined by each police ordinance.
Oh, okay.
Look that up in your city, which your city determines a reasonable radius is. Or look up the definition of vicinity. It'll tell you. And the local courts may have ruled on that already, being that excuse me, being that it's such a vague term. So it may have made it to the court. They've had to define that term already. So you just got to look that up.
I also cannot see it. For what?
In the 1981 case of Michigan v. Summers, the Supreme Court held that probable cause inherently carries with it the limited authority to detain the occupants of a premises while a proper search is conducted. This ruling essentially authorized police to detain nearby citizens wherever a crime had occurred until their innocence or involvement was proven or disproven. In 2013, the Supreme Court amended the Summers ruling in the case of Bailey v. United States by declaring a detention is limited to the immediate vicinity of the premises to be searched and does not apply when a recent occupant of the premises was detained at a point beyond reasonable understanding of the immediate vicinity of the premises in question. This ruling established a limit on what officers could classify as the immediate vicinity. The officers engaging Mr. Kelly are responding to a call about a gun being pulled on a minor somewhere in the nearby apartment complex. The officers had absolutely no description of the suspect and only stopped Mr. Kelly because he was in an area near the complex. Unbeknownst to the officers, the man standing next to Mr. Kelly's cousin, Izir, was involved in the original incident which prompted the 911 call. But the information that the officers were basing their investigation on was a far stretch from what actually happened. Here is a clip from the aftermath of this incident which demonstrates the degree to which these officers were misinformed and disorganized.
Basically, the story they gave us was, which is that? I don't know his name, but that's his mom's the one. That's the son. Okay, yeah. So that's Izir. Basically, what happened was mom gets cramped and like shit on the couch. Husband Darrell The one that's in the ambulance? Yes. So that is husband.
Yeah, that's husband Darrell.
Okay.
He goes, he kind of grabs her, like, get your, so, you know, it's not, get some air, you know, cramping up, go get some air. And he took exception to that. Okay. So he talked to my mom that way.
Okay.
Shoves them. They start getting to like a wrestling match. Kind of push the TV back, no damage to the TV.
Okay.
They come out here, start doing whatever they're doing. Mom didn't see what happened after they left the apartment.
Okay. Was there any allegations of a gun being pulled on anybody?
No. She goes, there's no guns. I don't know what they're talking about.
It is unclear how a domestic dispute was misconstrued as a child being held at gunpoint, but the officers didn't bother to make contact with the original 911 caller until this entire incident had transpired and Mr. Kelly had been detained with no evidence.
I'm asking you for what?
God damn it.
For what? Please turn my hands are in
Just
the air.
listen.
Officer,
I understand that.
So I'm asking.
Put your hands in the air, man. Put your hands in the air. There you go.
What?
There you go.
Turn around. Make sure you don't have a weapon.
Do not double tase him.
Put your hands on your head. Interlace your fingers. Are we being now?
Yes.
You're being detained.
In the 1973 New York case of People v. Jennings, the court flatly rejected the notion that lawful means any order that does not require the operator to break the law. The court noted that accepting such a definition would subject the passing motorist to the slightest whim of the empowered officer. However, the court went on to adopt the equally ambiguous ideology that an order is lawful when it is, quote, reasonably designed to achieve its goal. The court did not elaborate as to what constitutes a legitimate goal and ultimately failed to establish a concrete precedent regarding lawful orders. The vagueness of this ruling left the limitations of a lawful order undefined and blurs the line between officer safety and personal liberty. If we break down the etymology of the phrase lawful order, a logical definition arises. The definition of lawful is conforming to, permitted by, or recognized by laws or rules, and the definition of order is an authoritative command, direction, or instruction. If we combine these two words into a phrase, the meaning becomes clear. A lawful order is an authoritative command, direction, or instruction which is conforming to, permitted by, or recognized by laws or rules. Although the court never recognized the plain meaning of the phrase, common sense and basic logic suggests that a lawful order must be supported by a law in some capacity. Considering that these officers had no reasonable suspicion or probable cause to believe that Mr. Kelly was involved in criminal activity, their orders were not based on any law or ordinance and therefore were not lawful. At this point, they were just orders that were being issued from one party to another. The power of those orders were solely derived from the officer's ability to force compliance and Mr. Kelly's powerlessness to defy them.
What is a lawful order? That you're bound to obey?
Something that should be backed up by law?
No. A police officer may order you to do something that may not have anything to do with the law. But that doesn't mean they don't have the authority to do it. So what is a lawful order?
Conforming to an authoritative command.
A lawful order. So I want you guys to get the succinct meaning when a police officer tries to tell you you disobeyed a lawful order.
All right.
Police officer has not established that you committed a crime and he's told you to do something and you don't do it. It's not disobeying a lawful order. He has to establish first, excuse me, he has to establish first what's called criminal procedure, meaning when a police officer walks up to you and they start an investigation, that's instituting criminal procedure. And they can only do that when you have committed a crime or they suspect you of committing a crime. That's the very beginning. The window in is reasonable suspicion. That's the very first thing that's criminal procedure. Whoever's in the back, can mute your phone while I'm talking. So criminal procedure, that's when they're able to instigate criminal procedure. So again, if you're walking down the street and a police officer tells you, come here, and you don't walk to the police officer. So if a police officer tells you to come here and you don't walk to the police officer and he tries to arrest you or whatever for disobeying a lawful order doesn't mean an order that comes from the police officer. It does mean an order that is backed, or that is what's the word? Damn, there's a certain word I'm looking for. It's an order that's I'll say established because that's not the word I'm looking for, but it's an order that's established by law, or that's backed by law. So, again, reasonable suspicion. If he's investigating under reasonable suspicion, he tells you to do something and you don't do it, that's a lawful order. Now, depending on what he tells you to do, though. So again, this is where you have to know your rights. Under reasonable suspicion, he tells you, show me your ID, and you don't do it. That's not disobeying a lawful order. Why? Because the law doesn't say he can do that. This is why it's so important to know which laws, comprise a lawful order, and which laws, in which situation. It's which laws in which situation comprise a lawful order, because some laws, some things he may tell you to do that may be lawfully backed, but not in that situation. Like them not having probable cause to ask you for an ID, but they can't ask you for your name. And if you don't give them your name, that's disobeying a lawful order. But these brothers didn't do that.
Okay, that makes sense, because in the military, we got the same thing in terms of law enforcement, but then you have LOAC, law of armed conflict, and it's always laws based off of particular situations where, you can only do certain things. Like you can't attack a mosque, you can't attack or shoot at a hospital, things like that.
It's always going to be contingent, based on
the laws of that state or that jurisdiction.
Always going to be conditional. So,
okay,
like you said, based off of what conditions are present at the time. Are these brothers, are this suspect, are they under, is there more than reasonable suspicion? Is there probable cause? And what can I do under probable cause that I can't do under reasonable suspicion? Blah, 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 back and forth. That's why you need to know which lane you in. Are you in the probable cause lane, or are you in the reasonable suspicion lane?
So based on your first scenario, whereas the police just said, hey, come here, and I don't, am I disobeying a lawful order? If I just stand there and not come towards him?
Are you disobeying a lawful order if a police officer tells you to come here and you don't?
But you started that and you didn't really, because I didn't hear it.
No. So if you haven't committed a crime, you don't have to do anything that he says. And I would actually advise you not to, because anything that a police officer tells you to do, that's not under criminal investigation, that's not under criminal procedure, is considered consent, even if it is under criminal procedure, and it's not lawful, and he doesn't have the legal right to ask you to do it, and you do it anyway. That's called tacit consent.
Yeah.
So I'll give you, like, sometimes though, what I'm saying, they be trying to intimidate you and shit. So like, I was walking with some homies one time. This is when I was younger. It was like 4 of the homies. We was walking in the hood. This is I don't know if y'all know about California. This is hardcore gang hood, and so we was rolling. It was rolling 60 Crips neighborhood, and but none of us gangbang. We were actually coming from McDonald's. We had just ate some McDonald's, and we were just coming across the street, and the police car rolled up on the corner. and saw us cross the street, and then we walking up down the street, and so the police officer called. He just parked right there on the curb, and he rolled down his window. He was like, "Hey, come here." And everybody else kept walking. They kept walking away, but I didn't hear him. So I walked over to the police car. Because I just didn't hear what he said. I didn't know what he said. I didn't know if he said come here or not. But so when I walked over to the police car, he said, your friends are lucky. I was like, what do you mean? He said, your friends are lucky that you came to the car, or otherwise we'd have jacked you up. I'm like, what? Like they didn't hear you like I didn't hear you. Like, cause I didn't even hear him. I just went to the car because I'm not scared of police. Like, nigga, I deal with police all. I don't give a fuck. These niggas just don't scare me. So when I walked right up to the car, and I was like, "Yo, what'd you say?" And he was like, "Yeah, your friends better be glad that you walked over to us and you said something, or we'd have jacked you." I'm like, "Okay, well, this is when I didn't know anything about the law. I'm a young kid. I'm literally like, I had to be about what, 18, 19 then. I didn't know shit. So, you know what I'm saying? Of course, that little bit, they tried to intimidate us with that little bit, and I went to them. They were like, "Man," I said, "Dude, homeboy said if I didn't come back to the car, he was gonna jack us all up." And it was like, "For what? Like, we didn't even do nothing." I was like, "Yeah, but that's what he said." Like, so we did, we just kind of brushed it off. But I didn't see it, until later on that this nigga was just trying to. They do that in the hood to intimidate the little kids, the youngsters, to be scared of them. Mm-hmm. So that you give over your rights when they, when they try to tell you to do something. Because you believe right off, no matter what, that these niggas have the authority to do whatever the fuck they want to do to you, which is crazy. So let's keep going.
Interlace your fingers with back of your head.
What do you say? Somebody saying something? Oh, that's the police officer. Remember? Don't y'all say something.
What are we being detained for? Answer my question, officer. No, I know my rights.
Page 8 of the Aurora Police Department Directives Manual's chapter on the use of deadly and potentially deadly force clearly states that a taser should not be deployed or displayed with the sole intent of coercing or intimidating an individual, or in a location where a fall may cause substantial injury or death. Mr. Kelly was tased while standing on a curb with his back to the ledge of the curb. After being tased, his body immediately seized and he fell straight back, smashing his head on the concrete. The directives manual goes on to note that certified members should not deploy a taser when the subject is only passively resisting. Mr. Kelly never made any threatening gestures or displayed any physical show of force, and kept his hands in the air in an effort to actively demonstrate that he was not a threat in any way. Mr. Kelly's actions are a quintessential example of passive resistance, and these officers failed to follow their own department's protocol on many fronts.
It's called failing to obey a lawful order.
What are we being detained for?
You're going to jail for failing to obey a lawful order.
For what?
Failing to obey a lawful order.
What?
To sit down, put your hands up, turn around.
I have a...
Now, right there, when he's on camera and he's saying you're going to jail for failing to obey a lawful order, that's when you get on camera the exact law. You did not establish reasonable suspicion, which makes your order not lawful. You had not established any lawful right to detain me at all. So your orders to me at that point, until you established any legal reason that you need to detain me, when I'm asking you for those reasons, you don't have the right to do that. And then he should be able to pull that law up and then boom, say that right on camera, because then if he goes to sue and they pull that video up, and then the police officer wouldn't have had no response for that. But he just keeps saying, failing to obey a lawful order. Like that's a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing pushes that, that's not backed by anything. Like that encompasses everything. Nigga, anything I tell you to do, nigga, if I tell you to shit on your pants right now, nigga, you don't do it. That's failing to obey a lawful order.
I don't care. Lawful order, you do what you're told.
If I can't sit, then what?
Then you could lay down. Well, I want to talk to your supervisor.
That was a supervisor.
I want to talk to his boss.
Well, the chief
I
isn't
didn't
here.
do anything, and there are witnesses. Yes.
Hey, look right here. It's all on video, sweetheart.
Call the nigga sweetheart. Oh, I'd have killed him on that one.
I asked you what we were being paid for.
Here's the deal. We don't have to explain it to you.
Right. And we're officers of the law. We know our rights.
We don't have to explain it to you until we get things under control. That's what it comes down to. You are. That is my superior right there. Well, you'll have to wait. They don't come out to the scene. Okay? If you have a complaint, you can take it up later. We don't have time to explain things until we get it under control. Once we know things are safe for us to explain things, then we would have explained it to you.
That's bullcrap.
But when you don't listen and you're being uncooperative,
I asked you what we were being
I'm very clear on what you're asking. But you got to understand, when we're dealing with somebody that possibly may be armed, we don't have time to explain it.
Mr. Kelly.
If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. I learned this the hard way with my first company.
Now, when we're dealing with someone who may be armed, we don't have time to explain it. Absolutely, you do. If I'm not threatening your life at the time, you need to establish, nigga. Just because I may legally have a gun, have a weapon. You don't know. You need to establish why you're here and why you need to tell me why you have the authority to tell me what to do right now, because the law just doesn't give you the authority to do anything you want. There's certain things that I had to violate. There's certain laws I have to violate. Then you act upon that. If I have violated no law, then you need to tell me what law I'm violating before I do anything that you say. That is the law.
Mr. Kelly was arrested, charged with disorderly conduct, and taken to jail, where he spent 3 days before being allowed to post bail. Lawyers from the American Civil Liberties Union of Colorado successfully defended Mr. Kelly in his subsequent criminal case, winning dismissal after filing a motion arguing that the unlawful street detention violated the Fourth Amendment. The Internal Affairs Division of the Aurora Police Department and a purportedly independent internal review board, which focuses on cases of significant community interest, reviewed the incident and determined that the use of force against Kelly was, quote, reasonable, appropriate, and within policy. The Internal Review Board concluded that nothing in the incident, quote, warrants further investigation. Mr. Kelly went on to file a lawsuit against the city of Aurora and the Aurora Police Department, which eventually resulted in a $110,000 settlement and the city's refusal to admit wrongdoing. Aurora City Attorney Mike Hyman said that the city settled so that it wouldn't have to spend even more taxpayer money on a court case, and characterized Mr. Kelly's case as an attack on the Aurora Police Department.
This is where the citizens keep getting fucked, is when these people settle, because the stipulation in the settlement is we had no wrongdoing. We committed no wrongdoing. And so they settle all the time, hundreds and thousands of times. They settle every year. But with those thousands and hundreds and thousands of settlements comes no admission of guilt. So then no change comes to the system, because they got insurance for that, to pay you off. So we'll just pay you off with your own money that you've been putting into the system for a long time, and get out my face, and we're gonna do this to your brother next week. That's where the fuckery is.
Overall, the Aurora Police Department gets an F for recklessly deploying a taser, failing to execute any measure of de-escalation techniques, and refusing to acknowledge any wrongdoing in the face of blatant policy violations. This interaction and the Aurora PD's subsequent conduct are a testament to the department's inability to police itself. If an organization can write its own rules and then choose to break them without repercussions, then it is difficult to classify that organization as a public public entity. Aurora's independent review board, which consists of both civilians and officers, failed the citizens of Aurora by allowing the department to openly violate its own policy. It is likely that the independent review board is easily corruptible and serves as nothing more than a mouthpiece for the police department. It is difficult to insulate an independent review board from the influence of police departments, and until a truly autonomous review board can be assembled, Aurora and cities like it will continue to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars per year protecting highly expendable personnel that offer nothing to their community.
And that's why you go after those niggas' bonds. Let's see. Because they're gonna act like they can punk you all day. You can't let them do it. Now, we're about to get into a couple of weed searches, so I want to show y'all, because that's, I know brothers smoke weed, and so y'all need to be up on the weed smell law, the bullshit that they tell you. I smelled weed in the car. Wait a minute, what? So just peep real quick.
Drong of police. Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers racial profiling, unreasonable searches, and solicited confessions, and comes to us from the Iowa Citizens for Community Improvements channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. Let's dive right in and audit the interaction. On July 15, 2018, 23-year-old Montre Little and 21-year-old Jared Clinton were leaving a local park where they were stopped by Officer Kyle Thies of the Des Moines Police Department in Des Moines, Iowa.
Dang, the chick police officer looked like she could knock out the dude. You see her roll up on the side? God damn, she like she do MMA or something.
Leaving a local park where they were stopped by Officer Kyle Thies of the Des Moines Police Department in Des Moines, Iowa.
What's going on, guys? Not much. What's up? Is this your car?
Well, it's a rental right now. My car's in the shop.
Okay. Did you, something break down?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. You guys just came from over at the park, right?
Yeah, we just hanging out.
That's it?
That's what
Is this your car?
I just told you my car's in the shop, officer. This is a rental.
Okay. How do you start it?
What do you mean? I just put my foot on the brake.
Now you see that? See how the officer is acting? Asked it. So y'all just came from the park, right? How do you start it? You think the motherfucking officer is that dumb? So he's about to tell you in a minute why he's asking those questions. But the very first thing, you guys just came from the park, right? What's the correct if you came from the park, what's the correct answer for that?
Am I being detained?
Not. I mean, you don't need to get to that point. I mean, when he walks up to you, you should ask him, did he have reasonable suspicion to pull you over? Why you ask him why he pulled you over? And then he needs to tell you the traffic violation that you committed, or he needs to give you the reasonable suspicion, the articulable facts of what you were doing that led him to pull you over, that you were committing a crime. So that's the very first thing you should ask him when he walked up. You know, and then name and badge number and all the rest of that too. You want to get that right off the bat. But when he asks you, when they start asking you, you know, speculative questions to try to get you to incriminating questions. So you would just come from the park, right? What if he just says as simple, yeah, we know we were just coming, we were just hanging out and coming from the park, and we just headed our way home, and then there was a murder in the park that he know nothing about. He just immediately became a murder suspect. Him and dude in the car. That's why you don't answer their questions. When they ask you leading questions like that, you say, I'm just hanging out. You say, where you coming from the park? Oh no, we're just hanging out, we just chilling, driving. You can be vague, or you don't have to answer the question at all. Why you need to know? Like, do I need, or you can ask him, do I have to answer that question? You can answer that too. And he'll tell you, no, you don't, because he's on camera. He's gonna tell you, no, you don't have to answer that question. But never answer a question this motherfucker asks you, especially if it's leading, because you have no idea where it's leading to.
Put it in drive or not?
Okay.
Yeah, officer.
Officer Thesis' seemingly innocent question is much more tactical and accusational than it initially appears. Asking about starting the vehicle gives Officer Thesis important clues about Mr. Little's relationship with the vehicle. If Mr. Little isn't familiar with the process for starting the car, it could insinuate to the officer that he may have stolen the vehicle. Likewise, if Mr. Little fumbles or acts erratically while answering the question, it could insinuate that he is inebriated. Either one of those scenarios could provide Officer Thies with reasonable suspicion to investigate further. Luckily, Mr. Little did not act erratically and seemed familiar with starting the vehicle. However, Officer Thies's question still segued into an additional question, which ultimately results in Mr. Little surrendering his keys to the officer.
Just want y'all to be aware that the brother right here driving the car, he's an Aries. I just want y'all to see how we handle shit right here. Even when we don't know no law, we just got it like that. We don't bow down.
So it's your car, though? Did they give you a fob or something?
My car, officer.
Did they give you a key fob or something? Or
Listen.
like, what does it do? Does it?
You see, this should let you know that it's
You see what that motherfucker just did? What did he just do?
Give him the keys.
But wait, go back, watch what this motherfucker just did. First of all, first of all, I'm gonna let it play, and then I'm gonna let y'all.
Yeah, he moved a little too fast. He probably should have,
Man, wait, just watch this shit again. The cop is slick.
Surrendering his keys to the vehicle. Mr. Little did not act erratically and seemed familiar with starting the vehicle. However, Officer Thies's question still segued into an additional question, which ultimately results in Mr. Little surrendering his keys to the officer.
So it's your car, though? Did they give you a fob or something?
My car, officer.
Did they give you a key fob or something? Or
Listen.
like, what does it do? Does it?
You see, this should let you know that it's
This motherfucker, what does it do? Like, motherfucker?
I'm trying to set him up.
Dude, but the kid is so scared that he feels like, all right, if I just do anything right now, this motherfucker leave me alone. But this is you not understanding when the cop is being nice, he not your homie. He not trying to be nice at all. This nigga is trying to railroad you. And so he goes, did they give you how do you work it? Did they give you a key fob or something? Like, how does that work? Like, motherfucker, you don't know how a car works? You don't know how a car key works? Well, the car key, you put the car key in the hole and you turn it. That's what you should do. You don't hand the officer your car key ever. Unless this motherfucker's arresting you. But you hand voluntarily, he gave over, so he can't come back and say that he was coerced into handing his car keys over. Or that the officer made him hand his car keys over, because he just handed it right to him.
Okay. Do you have any weapons on you or in the car?
Oh,
okay, can I be honest with you? It smells like marijuana in the car, and I can see shake on the ground. And your buddy's given me the idea that maybe he's got a gun.
The smell of marijuana is often used by police officers as probable cause to bypass the consent to search that is typically required from the driver of the vehicle. I have made a video that discusses the smell of marijuana and its relationship to probable cause in more detail that I will link in.
Basically, the smell of marijuana is not enough to arrest you. Smell of marijuana is not enough probable cause to arrest.
I got arrested last year for that.
Yeah, because you didn't challenge it. That's why.
info card above. It is important to note the speed at which Officer Thies draws his conclusions. Officer Thies hasn't even asked Mr. Little for his ID yet, but he has already concluded that the smell of marijuana is present, there is marijuana shake on the ground, and that Mr. Clinton has a gun hidden on his person only 2 minutes into the interaction. Officer Thies goes on to admit that he is basing his accusation about about the gun purely on a personal hunch.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what I think. How? I don't know. Just the way, I mean, just the way you're holding yourself, man. Like, that's why we're nervous, man. That's it. I mean, if you're scared because you got a little bit of weed, that'll be one thing. Okay. No weed. Okay.
That is not articulating facts. This is the way you're holding yourself, man. That's just making me. That's not articulating facts. That is not articulable facts to lead you to fucking believe that I'm suspicious of committing a crime. That does not work. Maybe it's the way you're acting, man. The way you're holding yourself, man. What you mean the way I'm holding myself? Sitting here, getting harassed for no reason, coming from the park.
No shake on the floor.
Okay, so there's no shake on the floor? Okay. All right. And you don't have any weapons on you, you said?
That is correct.
Okay, do you have your ID on you?
My brother's been pulled over multiple times for doing that. I live in Des Moines, I go to work. My brother.
This is Iowa again. They get jacked up in Iowa.
Okay. You don't got no weapons on you? Go ahead and step out, Montre. Yep, I just told you why. 3 times. You want me to recap again?
Look, my hands is up.
Yep, your hands are up, and now I'm asking you to step out of the car.
I gave you my ID.
You gave me your ID.
Go run it.
Yep, I don't want to. I'm not walking away from this car.
Officer, can I ask you why?
Yep, because I just told you. Step out of the car. If you don't want to go to jail, I would expect you to please listen. I mean, I told you I'm a cop. Face the car when you step out. Face the car when you step out. Face the car when you step out. Don't flex. Don't flex. I don't know what you're doing, man, but you need to knock that off. Stop pulling on your arms.
See how he starts. See how he immediately tries to say on camera, "Stop pulling at your arms," because then that gives him the leeway and the right to charge him with resisting if it goes down, or to escalate the force. When all he did was just put his hands behind his back. Stop pulling at your hands. Dude, again, when they say that, and you're on camera, you have to counteract by saying, I'm not doing that. And then further on by saying, stop saying that so that you can have an excuse to charge me with resisting arrest. Say that on camera. Because that's why they do it. And then you say on camera, I'm not resisting arrest. He's lying. He's trying to use that as an excuse to charge me resisting arrest. You say that.
What's going on, dude?
Pull his man's pants down.
What are you doing, dude?
Officer, I'm not doing nothing.
Okay. Well, you're making me think something funny is going on, man.
Bam.
Come on, man. You're not under arrest. You're like pulling away like you're gonna do something silly. And I don't want that.
Right there, when he threw them handcuffs on him, he just messed up. He messed up already most of the time, but they would have probably let him go for most of the other stuff. Right there, he just messed up when he threw them handcuffs on him again, and then goes on camera and says, "You're not under arrest." But you pull me out of the car and throw handcuffs on me like you would do that to any other person. Would you do that to a Caucasian person? No, you wouldn't just pull him out of the damn car and throw him in handcuffs while you searching him. You wouldn't do that at all. Especially with no goddamn reason. While you making up reasons. See, this dude thought, oh, we'll stake out the park. And most of these niggas at the park, they think niggas are always in violation of something. So no matter what, we'll pull a nigga over and we'll find something. That's their mentality. And as a matter of fact, did you guys just hear the Bloomberg tape clip?
Yeah.
Who didn't hear the Bloomberg clip?
Yeah.
Mark didn't.
You didn't hear the Bloomberg kill it? Man.
No.
I didn't.
I didn't hear about it either.
Y'all have got to arm yourself with the law. Bloomberg, when he was the mayor, he ordered more police in the hoods on purpose. And then talked about how jacked up they was, how they were more prone to crime. There's more crime in the hood, so we got to put more police in the hood because they do more crime. And whooping this. I mean, he just was killing it. Basically being racist, racially instilling a program that was just to keep niggas down and to literally keep the heat off of Caucasians. He didn't escalate no police in Caucasian hood. All of them went to the nigga hoods because he was being racially biased. Already had their mind made up that that you already guilty. That was in the. Go look up that tape. Let me see if I can find this. Oh, actually, no.
The same Bloomberg that's trying to run for president?
Yep. Watch.
Yeah.
Bloomberg leaked audio. Here it is. Watch this shit. We'll go back to this in a minute.
At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two, even bear and tear.
These ads killing me.
Get a quote today.
This morning, the former New York City mayor apologizing once again for his controversial stop and frisk policy after leaked audio of him defending the policing practice in 2015 went viral.
Put those cops where the crime is in the minority neighborhood.
In the recording, Bloomberg defends the tactic that disproportionately targeted blacks and Latinos in New York and that was later ruled unconstitutional.
The way you get the guns out of the kids' hands is throw them against the wall and frisk them.
Bloomberg, who first
Hold on, we got to hear they're not showing the full goddamn audio. Fuck this. Oh, here it is. This is the one where they showed the audio.
Mike Bloomberg, you know him as the guy who likes big video, which emerged today. Take a listen.
95% of your murderers and murder victims fit one MO. You can just take the description, Xerox it, and pass it out to all the cops. They are male minorities, 15 to 25. That's true in New York, it's true in virtually every city. And that's where the real crime is. You've got to get the guns out of the hands of the people that get killed. So if you want to spend the money for a lot of cops in the street, put those cops where the crime is, which means in the minority neighborhood. So it's one of the unintended consequences is people say, oh my God, you are arresting kids for marijuana, they're all minorities. Yes, that's true. Why? Because we put all the cops in the minority neighborhood. Yes, that's true. Why we do it? Because that's where all the crime is.
Look at this motherfucker, because that's where all the oh my God. The
way you get the guns out of the kids' hands is to throw them against the wall and frisk them. Because then they say, oh, I don't want that, I don't want to get caught, so they don't bring the gun. They still have a gun, but they leave it at home.
So there's a lot to sort through.
So this motherfucker is even saying, even if you don't find the gun on this nigga, these niggas still have guns. They just left the gun at home. So no matter what, niggas are just criminals. Niggas is just criminals to be fucking, nigga, you just need to be taken off the street. No matter what. 16. This nigga said that starting at 16. 15, 16. Got to get these niggas off the street. That's the mentality that you have against you. And they use the police force to fucking take your ass out. When it's so easy to learn the laws that enable them niggas to do what they do. It's so easy, but niggas just don't want to take the time. You gotta fucking you gotta do it. You have to take the time to sit back and learn this shit. Put down the goddamn fucking phone, the apps, and put down the goddamn R&B music, the fucking basketball, all the rest of that shit, and learn this shit. because these motherfuckers they're instituting war against you, nigga. That was war that he instituted against young melanated people in New York. Well, people are gonna say, yeah, you're putting all the guns in, you're putting all the police in the hood there. Yeah, that's true. And you're gonna say that because you're racially profiling the kids, and well, yeah, that's true. Like, nigga, what the he just said, yeah, we're profiling them, yeah, and that's basically what that was. Like, yeah, but that's what them niggas are. Them niggas are the most crime riddled niggas. So shit, we gotta be in there, because no Caucasians do crime ever. Obviously, no Caucasians ever done a crime in life ever. But back to old boy.
What?
Nothing.
I what?
I'm not even gonna.
Okay, well, you're not under arrest, man. We're just trying to figure out what's going on.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so slide in. I mean, your heart is thumping, dude. Like, you're beaten.
Officer, please don't.
Don't what? Have a seat.
Okay.
Have a seat. I think that your buddy has a gun, so I need you to.
Again, I'm keep stopping because the officer keeps doing a lot of stuff to establish like the dude, because he fucked up. The dude is completely innocent. So the officer keeps trying to establish like the dude is kind of suspicious and acting, you know what I'm saying, and out of character. Man, your heart's beating up. Then how do you know? You can't hear my heart, motherfucker. You didn't put your hand over my chest. How you know my heart beating like that?
Hey, Kev. A question. On the last class, when the guy got out of the car, the young boy, you said he should have shut the door. Now, with this guy being handcuffed, could he have still swung his body and shut the door?
I would have.
It
would have done no good if you didn't lock it.
Okay, all right.
A locked car is like a locked trunk and a locked car is akin to your property, like being breaking into your house. But if it ain't locked, then you can't do anything.
All right, thank you.
I mean, they can go in there when they're doing their investigation.
In the car.
You think my buddy has a gun?
He's acting funny. Step in the car, please. If you don't step in the car, you're going to jail for sure.
Okay, that's
so
fine,
step
officer.
Step in the car.
Listen.
I'm done listening. I just told you. I think everybody has a gun. Knock it off.
I just told you I think your buddy has a gun. Based on what?
Can you spread your feet just a little bit?
Based on absolutely
All right,
nothing.
come back and stand with me, okay? You're not going to run from the area.
They frisked the passenger by only stating that they believed he had a gun. There was no reasonable suspicion to frisk the passenger. You got to know when your rights are being violated. There was no reason for them to do that to the driver, and was definitely no reason for them to search the passenger. You stating I believe he has a gun is not enough reason for you to motherfucking again instigate criminal procedure.
At best, that's just a hunch.
Yeah. I believe he has a gun. Well, shit, that's nigga, that's on you, nigga. Based on what? Well, he's looking at me kind of funny. What? I see. None of that flies. It flies with people who don't know the law and they believe that the police are absolute authority over everything. All he found was a liquor bottle in the car.
How old are you, Montre?
March 25th, 1995.
You supposed to be drinking in the park there?
Aries.
Officer, that's just in there, okay? There was no gun, there was no weapon to harm you, officer. We didn't do anything wrong. We stopped at the stoplight. We pulled over when you pulled over. I did everything you asked me to, officer. You thought there was a weapon. There's no weapon. We wasn't doing anything wrong, officer. I'm not sure why you pulled me over. That's your rental. Everything is fine. There's no breaking taillight, nothing, officer. I did nothing wrong with you.
Officer Thesis' original reason for the stop was never made public, and Mr. Little makes a valid point. Based purely on the information in the video, there doesn't appear to be any valid reason for a traffic stop. The tag, registration, and functions of the vehicle must have been valid considering that the car is a rental, and it would appear as if Officer Thies was unaware that there was an open container in the car because he had to search the vehicle in order to find it, and he made no mention of it to Mr. Little at the beginning of the video. Leaving a park is hardly a crime and certainly does not justify a traffic stop. Many aspects of this stop are based purely on the speculations of Officer Thies, and it is reasonable to assume that the stop itself was based on a hunch.
If I take them handcuffs off you, you gonna dump out that bottle of alcohol for me? I could do it in time. Is that good? Yeah, of course. You good? You straight? Okay. So here's the deal. Like, you and I know. I mean, let's start off. Let's do it. Did I make it?
What the officer just did, what the officer just did was he's trying to clean up. Now he's back to clean up. He's clean. You know he done fucked up. He ain't found anything. This dude has done nothing wrong. He wasn't able to incite dude into an attitude. Nothing. Dude held his ground perfect. Right? Just other than the fact that he didn't know when his rights were being violated. But other than that, he did know enough not to admit guilt to anything. So then the officer comes in and says, "All right, if I take those cuffs off you, you're gonna dump the alcohol out for me." So what he's doing right now is acting like he's doing him a favor. All right, I'm not gonna take you to jail. So just in case the dude thought he might have been going to jail and he might have been in the wrong, the officer comes in. I'm gonna save the day. I'm gonna be Mr. Nice Officer for you. So if I take those cuffs off of you, you dump the alcohol out for me because that's all I want you to do. I'm not gonna take you out. I'm not gonna take you in. But just make sure that let's get an understanding first. Now listen to this shit.
Nope. You straight? Okay. So here's the deal. Like, you and I know. I mean, let's start over. Let's deal with each other. Did I make anything up when I said the car smelled like marijuana? Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. Hold on. Because there was nobody smoking in the car. Is there marijuana shake on the floor of the car? Officer, that was cigarette ash, okay? You didn't find no marijuana. I did. I'm not charging you with marijuana. But here's what. Like, if you want me to be real with you, like, I want you to be real with me for a second. Like, did I make that up? Yes. You know what I mean? Did I make it up? I believe so, officer.
It is unclear whether Officer Thies is seeking validation or a confession, but Mr. Little calls the officer's bluff and refuses to grant him the satisfaction of either. Any legal scholar will tell you to never admit anything to a police officer, and Mr. Little's honesty very well could have saved him from being charged with a crime. The 1969 Supreme Court case of Frazier v. Cupp affirmed the legality of deceptive interrogation tactics and essentially granted officers the authority to lie in the line of duty. Law enforcement officers often use the Frazier ruling to their advantage by pretending to be friendly and lenient in order to solicit a confession from their suspects. No matter what an officer says, it is never in anyone's best interest to admit anything to a member of law enforcement under any circumstances. The Fifth Amendment protects citizens from answering questions without legal counsel present, and the right to remain silent is a powerful tool that every citizen should be aware of and invoke when necessary.
Okay, so you want me to just write you the ticket for the stuff that I have to write you tickets for? If you think that I'm lying, like, then we'll go to court and we'll talk about it then. Okay. Or do you want to just be real with me and I'll be real with you? Awesome. Right? I would like to pull out my alcohol like you asked me to, officer. You didn't find anything. We wasn't doing anything, officer. You're not going to admit that you maybe were around people smoking or something like that. Officer. Were you around anybody smoking? That's it. Officer, there's no weed chick on the officer. There's no weed chick on the floor, officer.
All right. Held his ground. Did not allow that dude to fuck him. Even though he a young dude, he's scared, but he knew enough not to say what that dude wanted him to say. Man, these ads are.
When I got to City Hall, I focused on building a team. It's the most important
Look, the
thing.
dude we just
Most
finished
of
talking
those
about.
people that I hired in the first.
His ad comes in and interrupts the class.
Step out. Face the car.
After failing to secure a confession, Officer Thies allowed Mr. Little and Mr. Clinton to pour out the alcohol that was found and go on their way without making an arrest or issuing a citation. A few months after this incident, Mr. Little and Mr. Clinton teamed up with the social justice organization Iowa Citizens for Community Improvement to file a lawsuit against Officer Thies for violating their constitutional rights by stopping them without reasonable suspicion and conducting a warrantless search of the vehicle. In June of 2019, the Des Moines City Council agreed to a settlement of $75,000, with Mr. Little and Mr. Clinton receiving $25,000 each, and the law firm that represented them to receive the remaining $25,000.
Where do you think that $75,000 came from?
Insurance.
Their bond.
Yep. That's how much that's usually the average of a bond. It's $75,000. 70 between like $70,000 and $80,000 is usually the average. But most of them you see it'll be $70,000 to $75,000. It's uncanny how it's $75,000. They settle for $75,000. Homeboy's bond. like homeboy, you better pay this off. Bam. Let you know right there. But again, you can get. They only sued and homeboy had to give up his bond. But you can go place that lien on that bond within, as long as it takes you to find where the bond is. And bam. and as long as it takes you to find the bond and do the process, then file that shit. That nigga's he's off the job as soon as you file the lien.
The police department conducted an administrative review of Officer Thies, which led to the officer being removed from patrol duty but not fired. The city of Des Moines contends that the administrative review's findings can be kept secret because they're considered a personnel record and are part of an attorney's work product, which are exemptions in Iowa's public records.
See, he had to be pulled off patrol duty because the nigga lost his bond. So if somebody wouldn't re-bond him, if somebody didn't bond him again, they can only get a nigga a desk job.
Overall, Officer Thies gets an F for racially profiling Mr. Little and Mr. Clinton, violating their constitutional rights, and using shady police tactics in an attempt to solicit a confession for a crime that did not exist. Officer Thies was involved in a separate incident earlier in 2018, which resulted in a civil rights case being brought against him with elements of racial profiling at the forefront of the accusations. That lawsuit is still ongoing. The Des Moines Register reported that Thies was responsible for 253 arrests in 2017, with about half of those arrested being African American. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, only 11% of Des Moines residents identify as Black or African American, which suggests an unusually high racial disparity among Officer Thies' arrestees.
So out of that 125 people, how many do you think was fucking actually innocent? Out of 125 niggas he arrested, probably all of them. At least probably, I would say probably at least 100 of them. All right. All right. There's one more. Where is it? this it? Oh, so actually, I wanted to show y'all some. There's a couple of cats called Audit America, and I think I've shown y'all News Now, South Carolina. So, and News Now, South Carolina is a brother, which is why I like.
If there's even a slight chance of me ever getting home, I will find it here.
What's up, people? What's up with you? News Now, South Carolina. I'm back with you. I got my buddy Audit America here. He came down, made the trip.
I should have grabbed this shirt.
TG from Carolina Accountability Auditor. Will.
So look, these are a gang of auditor niggas. This is a little community they got. These niggas are growing. And the word is starting to get out about these cats because they just showing up at public buildings, testing if these cats know their rights. Their city rights versus the citizens' rights. And they smashing on the gang of these dudes. So the word is starting to get out about these cats. But the thing is, doing this sometimes is antagonistic. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they're just rolling in there with the cameras, knowing that they've been pissing people off to try to get a response so they can get the cops there. Now, again, a lot of times they're doing it because they know that police aren't versed on actual procedure and and just basic basic law that deals with citizens, because they're coming in with, I'm the authority, you do what the hell I say. So it is antagonistic on a lot of the things they do, but sometimes it has to be done because people are too comfortable with the law not being enforced or them taking advantage of the law. So it will seem antagonistic when you just happy with the status quo. So if I'm walking in here and I'm trying to basically establish the active rules as they should be, it's going to seem antagonistic to you if you've been chilling with fucked up rules the whole time. And so some of the police officers understand, because you can tell some of the police officers that they deal with are people who deal with this. They like this. Because those are the nicer police officers they deal with. And then some of the asshole police officers that are just do what the hell I say, you can see who those cats are too.
Jeff is here. We Carolina Auditor and whatever. So we're gonna go make this happen here, and hopefully we're gonna see.
Now, it's not antagonistic. Look, he walking in the building with no shirt on.
Yeah.
Why you doing that? You trying to start some shit. You are trying to start some shit. When you walking up in the damn public building when they're just sitting there just doing their work all day, you walking in there with no shirt on, you trying to start some shit.
Bad they say Horry County is. We're gonna find out.
Understand that?
So we're in City Hall, and Jeff just got assaulted by this gentleman here.
You don't have no expectation of privacy in public.
Jeff just got assaulted by this gentleman here, and apparently he thinks he can get away with it.
Sir, you can't. My camera is an extension of my arm. That's assault.
That's assault.
Because we're not required to, man. This is a.
Can I have your name, please, sir? I can't have your name. Do you work here? You don't? Okay, I was asking. If you don't work here, I don't want to talk to you. If you work here, I wouldn't mind talking to you. Pardon me, sir. I'm sorry about that. I don't. Well, I was just asking. I know people put clip-ons on belts and stuff. I was just asking. That's all. How you doing, man? I'm all right. Thanks for asking.
I didn't appreciate you grabbing my camera. You can't do that, sir. You're coming to you grab me when I do that.
Okay.
I'm sorry? I said you grabbed me when I went over there.
So now they're going back and forth about the assault.
Oh, I grabbed you? Really?
I'm going to listen. If y'all don't know who Audit America is, let me help y'all out here. Listen to him.
Why would you say that? It's all on video. We have 5 cameras. That's exactly why we're.
All right, y'all stay down. Can I ask you a question, sir?
No.
Well, I'm going to anyway because you're city. Okay, well,
I'm a city manager.
Okay, listen.
How does he get to put his hand on people?
It's time for you guys.
You don't have a problem with that, right?
It's time for you gentlemen to go.
Can I tell you something, sir? Well, I'm going to anywhere. You can't make us leave.
I'm not leaving.
Yes, I have.
No, you can't. You can't make me leave.
Yes,
I'm standing right here.
You can't make us leave. No, we're not.
You're
You
gonna go.
cannot vacate me from this property
Yes, we
unless I
can.
have broken
Okay.
the law.
So
You can
listen,
go. I can trespass you. You're being
So you can
trespassed.
trust me?
Yes.
You find out-
Travis, T,
I'm just gonna stay here.
just laugh at him. You can't trespass us.
Watch us.
They call the police on us because they think they can make us leave when we pay.
Make us illegally leave a building that our tax dollars fund.
How you doing, partner? I won't get your head on my partner. Do you know that if you illegally make us leave, we could sue you and own this building? Do you know that? Well, we already own it anyway. But
You gotta own,
you're not interested in talking to me? No. Okay, that's fine. I just want you to understand the litigation that you're going to tie yourself up into. Okay. They won't come because they know why we're here. They're going to tell you to ignore us. We'll see. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yes. And Mr. Peterson is here with me, and he's asking to leave.
Thank you. Thank you. That's the information we need.
Here, that's fine. Here's my card. I'll get your card so you can do whatever you want to.
Would it be John Peterson?
Yep.
Since you can't find your own card?
Okay, that's our supervisor. At least figure out what's going on.
Wait, so he's the supervisor?
So he's the supervisor of the police department?
No.
Okay.
City manager.
He's the
That's
city
not what I
manager.
said. I need a supervisor for the.
So he-
I'm not going outside. I haven't broken the law. I don't have
So
to be.
we came in here strictly to get photos and pictures because we're in the area. This gentleman here asked us to leave, and we actually told him before he decided to say that we're the disturbance. He became the disturbance because he was loud and belligerent. We told him to taking pictures, taking photos, go about your day. No, I'm making y'all leave.
That's what started the disturbance.
And he was assaulted when we first came up here. He overlooked that by telling us to leave, and we tell him we don't have to leave. We're not. I'm not disturbing anybody. All we're doing is filming. He doesn't like it. He's trying to make us leave. And like we tell him, this is a publicly funded building. We can be here as long as we want to, as long as we're not behind any doors that says restricted. He doesn't seem to understand that. And so we tell him that, and he get upset because he thinks he can just make us do what he wants us to do, and it doesn't work that way. So I would, honestly, all we need for you to do is tell him that we can be here. That's all we need.
Okay.
That's all we need.
This is city property.
Which is publicly funded, correct?
This is city property.
Which is publicly funded.
City property, just like the police department.
Is that private property?
Yeah.
It's private?
City owns it.
But who pays the city? How does the city get their, but where does the city get their funds
I'm
from?
getting into funds.
Because you're gonna lose that debate. We can do that.
This is city property.
But who pays,
It's city property.
but it's tax funded.
Okay, I understand that. I'm
So
not
if you
getting
understand
into
that, why you still going back and
I'm
forth?
not getting into taxes and all this payment stuff, okay?
Are you telling me we can't be here? Just answer that question. Can we be here? That's the yes or
They
no
are in
question.
charge of this building.
You're not answering my question. No, we're in charge. If they work here, it's a different. I don't care what he's asking me to do. I don't care what he's asking me to do. Can we be here? That's a yes or no question.
Until they ask.
You're not giving me yes or no. I'm done. You can ask me anything. I don't have to lose.
So now I'm being trespassed for not. You're not getting my.
So
Yeah, that's wrong, guys.
hey, double A. Here's what he's saying. He's telling us that this is city property, which we all know is public property, but he's saying that when they ask us to leave, we have to leave. That makes no sense at all.
And he's saying that it's private property.
You're not getting my name. You guys want more supervisors? And get my supervisor. Yes, we can bring this outside.
So let's skip a little bit.
No, we can't.
Oh, wait,
That's our fourth. Brother, listen, okay?
Until you have reasonable articulable suspicion that I have broken the law and in the process of breaking the law or going to break the law.
No, are you familiar with the Fourth Amendment? That's where, because if you listen to me, if you force his ID,
You guys are
you're going to be
just to try to swallow stuff up.
We didn't say nothing to anybody.
I can tell by your actions.
No, I didn't say nothing to
We're asking
anybody.
for a peaceful solution.
The peaceful solution is y'all leave.
And look who walk in. Look, look who they bring in to do to do the dirty work.
Not trying to put me out of a building that is public.
Nobody said anything. We came here to say nothing to anybody.
Because we're looking into all this. and
But
figuring
so
out
you're
what-
looking
into illegal activity?
What
The
are
city
you
wants you trespass
Okay,
from the building.
give me an ID for trespass.
Yes.
What statute?
You have one of your information.
What statute?
I have it into your information.
Hold on, again. Okay, that's like I'm not required to
taxes. That way you can get trespassed from this building
So if you come back and we
According
look
to
up
the
your
state law,
information,
you only need my ID is trespass after notice, not to place someone on trespass.
Did y'all hear what he just said about trespass? Did y'all catch that? See, these cats do know they know some law. So I'm leaving this on because they deal with these cats a lot and they go around. And so some of it is just scattered noise, but they do drop some law jewels on these niggas and they don't even, and they're not aware of it. So do you hear what he just said about trespass?
No, I ain't hearing Kev.
Okay, go back.
city trespass.
Provide you a statute. Okay, just like I'm not required
into our
to
CAD system, That way you can get trespass from this building. So if you come back and we
According
look up
to
your
the state law,
information.
you only need my ID is trespass after notice, not to place someone on trespass.
No, we have a city trespassing ordinance.
Okay, well, what is the ordinance?
What is it? Look it up for you?
Please, sir. And if you're correct, then I will walk outside.
Right now.
Well, he's already noticed.
Did you hear what he said about trespass? The dude, not the Caucasian, the brother.
Sound like he said something about an ordinance that's kind of muffled.
Okay. I just want you to listen to the brother. Don't listen to the white dude. Listen to what the brother said.
There's something about notice.
Okay, just like I'm not required to our CAD system. That way you can get trespass from this building. So if you come back and we
According
look
to
up
the
your
state law,
information.
you only need my ID is trespass after notice, not to place someone on trespass.
No, we have a city trespassing.
I hear what he said?
Trespass after notice.
Yes, which means, again, we went over this, but we can't go over it enough because you got to know it like you know what I'm saying, you know your family. Trespass is only a trespass after you've been notified of a trespass. Warning. You have to have a trespass warning and then violate the warning for you to be trespassed. So, and then you can't be trespassed in public, in a public building unless you go into areas that are designated private. Other than that, they can't trespass you from a public building because your taxes pay for it, and which is what he's trying to tell these dudes.
Okay, well, what is the ordinance? What is the ordinance? Please, sir. And if you're correct, then I will walk outside.
Right now.
Well, he's already noticed you.
How? Why would I leave if the police are coming? Why would I leave if the police are coming?
Because you have to leave the property when you talk outside. You're making this more difficult.
No, y'all are making this difficult. This is public property.
This gentleman here was assaulted.
And nobody said nothing about it.
As soon as we get past this,
who's the highest ranking officer here? I don't want to argue. I just want to call somebody. Who's the highest ranking officer here in this situation? He is? You are? Sergeant Dave. Sergeant, how you doing? Good, how are you? Dave, nice to meet you, buddy. We've talked to him. He's irrational. We've talked to him. He's become irrational. All we want somebody to do is to tell this gentleman that is forcing us to leave. This is a city road. We can leave, and we can only be trespassed when it's committed a crime. We don't have to leave this photography. That's what we're doing here. We didn't go in any private doors, nothing. We stayed in public foyers. We didn't go anywhere. This gentleman here said, I want y'all to leave. Y'all have to leave. And now they're telling him that he's being placed on trespass for a constitutionally protected activity. You can't do that.
You can be trespassed from a public building.
For doing what crime? What crime are we, what crime have we committed? This is business. Our First Amendment is protected activity. Yes, it is. It is.
You've done your business, correct?
No, we're doing our business. Y'all are in.
You're in the.
This is restriction.
Right now.
We're in public. So what's the problem?
See, he just tried to tell him that his constitutionally protected activity is not. He's saying we have ordinances we have trespass ordinances. If you have a trespass ordinance in the city that says a public building or a public entity can trespass you, is that law correct or not?
It's not correct.
Why?
Because the Constitution overrides ordinance.
Right. It's a Supreme Court case that says any law that's repugnant to the Constitution is null and void. That's verbatim. Any law that's repugnant to the Constitution, that means that goes against the Constitution, is null and void. So you can't create an ordinance to drum up money. So they do that because if you don't know your constitutional rights, you just go pay the trespass fine. That's why they do shit like this, for people who don't know the law. You don't know the law, you don't pay it. You can keep on pushing.
Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Like noise ordinance, because we have like a law where I'm at, like loudspeakers, they can fine you like $100.
Right.
Is that violating the Supreme Court?
Well, again, your freedoms can't infringe upon anybody else's freedom. So the reason they have that is so that you don't bug anybody else. So if you're bugging somebody else, if your freedom is spilling over into somebody else's, then that's a deal. That's constitutionally protected. Your freedoms. That's the whole point about common law. Unless you violate, if you violate someone else's right, then you committed a common law crime. So if you violated my right to be peaceful by blasting your music, then yeah, that's why they create ordinances like that to kind of to mesh out the vagueness of the law. But if you know the law, then you can just assert the correct laws. So but for you having what I'm saying, for stuff like that, that's so that you don't bug anybody else. And so yeah, those are actually valid, because then you're violating someone else's right to peace, or what's called disturbing the peace.
So with that point that you just made, I mean, is that similar to what's going on in this particular scenario, even though he's not saying that?
No, because whatever their ordinance is, their trespass ordinance is they're going off of that. They don't know the overall constitutional legality of what they're talking about, because you can't be trespassed in a public building.
Right.
As the courts have already ruled on that. I don't give a what ordinances you got in the city to drum up checks so that y'all so that y'all can pay your bills. That's what the ordinances are for. the Constitution states you can't trespass me here unless I violated the crime. And that's actually Supreme Court laws too. If you violated a trespass warning is what it is. So trespass is usually a warning, and then if you violate the warning, then you violate the trespass.
No, y'all have interrupted us, but we haven't done it because we got interrupted. That's what I'm saying. So we're talking about the same situation.
What is your purpose of photographing?
Anything that we can see from public, that is our First Amendment protection. I just told you my purpose.
For what reason?
And we do that.
This is a public lobby.
This is publicly accessible right here. We haven't committed any crime. And that's why he left.
So if anybody should be asking anyone for any credentials,
it's this young lady.
That got us off. Not us.
But y'all are overlooking that because we got a camera out. But if you're going to tell us that you're uncomfortable with our Constitution protecting our freedoms, just tell us that.
I just like to know what your purpose is.
We just told you that. I just told you that.
Tell me who you are.
My name's Dave. Why do you want that? I have committed no crime. I told you
what your intentions are.
So that's what you're getting into now. I have no ill will intentions. Your job is to do what I'm asking you to do, sir. I've committed no crime. Tell this gentleman that we can do here.
Also, if I ask you for ID and you fail to identify yourself,
this is not stop and identify state. No, it is. This is stop and identify. I've committed no crime.
You don't identify yourself.
And then again, he hit him with, it's a city ordinance. What do you hit him with? When then somebody says, it's a city ordinance, you need to show me your ID when I ask for it. And if you're not in a stop and identify state, you say what?
What crime have I committed? I'm about to acquit. Excuse me.
This is strictly dealing with ID. He told him, you haven't showed me your ID. You haven't identified yourself. He said, I don't have to. This is not a stop and identify state. He said, yes, it is. He said, no, it's not. He said, we have an identified ordinance, city ordinance. And he tells you, if somebody tells you without you committing a reasonable suspicion violation, that you have to show your ID, or probable cause, actually, when you got to show your ID. So without probable cause, that you have to show your ID based on some city ordinance, you say what?
It says I don't have to.
Say what?
Constitution, can't think of the amendment, says I don't have to.
Where does that say that?
Yeah, I'm just
I mean, I would just ask for proof. What ordinance or what law am I breaking?
That's one answer. I'm not gonna answer. I'm not gonna give you an answer yet. Anybody else?
Is that under reasonable suspicion?
What? Showing your ID?
Yes.
Tell me.
Yes, that's what. Yes.
Is it? Is showing your ID under reasonable suspicion?
No, they have to have reasonable suspicion to ask you for your ID, right?
No, they have to have what? What do they have to ask you for your ID?
Probable cause.
Yeah, probable cause. Not reasonable suspicion. You don't have to give them an ID under reasonable suspicion. So, but if he comes in though and he says you do got to give me your ID, and he don't even have reasonable suspicion. He don't have anything. They're doing a legally constitutionally protected activity. They don't have a right to even be there. So, other than just telling them to, get the fuck up out of there, trying to, based on the uncomfortability of the people who work there. But so if they come and try to tell you that there's a city ordinance that says you do have to show them ID, and they, what I'm saying, and you know better than that, what do you say? One person said the Constitution, and he couldn't tell them the amendment, what he was talking about. Anyone else?
Then the Supreme Court ruled that unless you commit a crime, you have to show your ID.
Where was that at? Who ruled that? What case was that?
That was
Anyone? Bueller? Y'all see Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Y'all better get with it. Anybody else? No one's gonna answer. Y'all gonna leave him hanging by himself, dangling in the wind. What case?
the Terry case.
Terry what? That trust me, that ain't gonna work fully if you in the situation. The Terry case.
You're talking about Terry v. Ohio.
Yes. That's what you hit him with. Well, Terry versus Ohio states, this nigga hit you with a city ordinance. Well, Supreme Court Terry versus Ohio said that you need reasonable suspicion to even ask me my name and probable cause to ask me for my ID. You have neither.
Well, in the beginning, when he first came in, he shook his hand and he introduced himself.
Well, he just said, he said his first name. That's not a full identification though. Full identification, under reasonable suspicion is first, last, and birth, date of birth.
Yeah, I've noticed on his videos he never gives his ID.
No, because he don't have to. And see, most niggas give their ID to the police officers because they scared the shit out of you, and you don't know that you don't have to give them your ID. Especially when these dudes, look at it, these niggas try to wear these old fucking fake ass tight shirts, like these fake. like I got some muscles, so that means I got hands. No, nigga, that means absolutely nothing. You walking around with some fake ass muscles, nigga. You get your ass smoked up. But see, that's the intimidation factor. That's why they do that. They ain't trying to pull no chicks. He trying to intimidate you. Like, there's a couple of reasons a nigga wear tight shirts. It's because they want to pull in girls, or they trying to intimidate other niggas. There. That's the two reasons niggas wear tight shirts. And this nigga ain't trying to pull no women on. I mean, he may be, you know, but he don't look like a beat cop. He look like niggas, you know, who hang around the precinct a lot. So, you know what I'm saying? That's what's going on there, the intimidation factor. And don't ever give in to the intimidation factor. Because these motherfuckers always be filming, because these niggas not gonna assault you illegally on camera. And if they do, then you got it.
But if you do live in a stop and identify state.
Yep, you gotta give it up. Nigga tell you to give your ID, give it right on up.
That doesn't fly, okay.
And it's 24 of those states, and you need to know if you live in one.
Yeah, I do.
I showed it last week. I showed the 24 states last week.
Hey, turn it down here. Listen.
What you say? Somebody say something?
Yes, you don't identify yourself.
Please call the state attorney down here. Listen.
So the state attorney has nothing to do.
Before y'all get yourself in litigation that you can't get out of, please just leave me alone. I've done nothing wrong.
I'm just telling you.
Well, I'm just telling
You
you.
have no reason to go any place past this.
I'm not anywhere. I'm here.
You've done what you need to do.
You told me I can be in this area.
Everybody's filming right now. So
Can I be in
you've
this?
done everything you need.
Can I be in this area? That's the yes or no question. Can I be in this area?
What is your purpose?
Is there a time frame that I have to be in this area? Nobody's answering my question. You're telling me that I can be here, but you're telling me I can be here and then telling me I have to leave. That doesn't make any sense.
But you can be told to leave at any time. Why?
That makes. Can I hear that?
I have no right to be. I told you, Sergeant.
So you telling me I can be in this area? So what you just said is, and I want to make sure I heard you correctly. I can be in.
Go ahead. We're not. You guys understand something. You've been told by everybody here
that we have to leave a public building.
Yes.
So you can kick. So can you kick me off a public sidewalk as well without no crime being
You
committed?
have no intention to be there. If you're obstructing the sidewalk, yes, I can.
I'm not obstructing. You just told me I can be here filming.
They want to come in here and film.
Is filming illegal, sir?
They film what they need to film.
Lieutenant Altman, is filming illegal?
No, it's not illegal to film, but if there's no reason for you guys to be here for any reason. Our reason.
That's not reason to be here.
Filmed everything. Let's go.
We haven't filmed everything because we got stopped.
You've been filming for 15 minutes.
We've been talking to you for 15 minutes.
First off, look how many police officers are there. That's insane.
That's a lot of bond money.
That's insane for niggas who got cameras out.
Two brothers going off on the law. You got all them white cops in there.
Man, two brothers in the audit America are Puerto Ricans. So most of the people there are brothers, are Hispanics and brothers. That's why they called them cops. You got Hispanics and brothers. It's like two white people there, like 2 or 3 white people there, but you know, way more. It was more brothers in Puerto Rico. So that's why they tripping.
Nothing else to film. Everything back there was private.
If you would know, everything behind doors is private. This goes all the way around. I'm not walking into any doors.
Guys, we're not gonna argue this.
I didn't want to argue, sir. I don't want to argue. I just want to be understood here. If this is our constitutional protected activity, so can we finish our video in this public foyer and then leave? That's all we want to do. He said that we've been here 15 minutes, but we've been talking to y'all for 10 minutes.
Okay, but this is the only area. There's nothing to film.
We haven't made it past this area. We got stopped right here.
You can't go past that.
Why can't I? That's public. Only way to that door back there. There's a public restroom right here.
We didn't, see, that's the thing. We didn't create the disturbance. We didn't create the disturbance. No, we just posted one that you don't know. It's different. You gave this man this ID. That's all that is.
None of you have given us your IDs. We don't know who you are.
He said he quoted a false state law. He said, no, we just quoted one you don't know. See that? He's like, nah, nigga, you don't know all the laws. And we just quoted the law you don't know.
You don't have to.
Yes, you do.
No.
Jesus. Okay, I guess I'm in a motor vehicle and I've committed a crime.
For what?
You're not in a motor vehicle. So.
Absolutely. So I'm not required to give you
Sir, I just told you we have an ordinance that requires you.
And I asked
an officer asked you for an ID and you failed to produce it. That is a violation.
But your city,
just like you said, you
but your city,
I'm not going to argue.
just stop. His city ordinance doesn't talk the Constitution. My 4th Amendment right says I have the right to retain my identity. That's my constitutional right. And you're going to tell me
the Constitution. We also have laws and ordinances in the city
that has to go hand in hand with the Constitution. Nope.
Sir, these laws have been in effect for years.
Does it? Is it higher than the Constitution? Is that what you're telling me? That your city ordinance? So then why you ask for my ID if I have a constitutional right to say that?
Right to ask you.
And it's my right to say no.
We gotta finish it up. Let's go. Let's go. As soon as you guys give us like 5 minutes, so we can finish.
You've been asked to leave the building. Guys, you gotta go. Plain and simple.
Are you threatening to arrest us if we don't leave this public building? Why are you so hostile?
Oh, this nigga, that nigga SWAT. He called SWAT on them. I didn't even see that. They called the SWAT team on these niggas.
I'll leave.
Under the threat of arrest, I'll leave. Under the threat of arrest, I'm like, why are you so hostile, Mr. Crawford?
And look, then big dude, little big dude walks off, and then he get big dude. Let's go. Let's go, y'all out of here. Yeah, let's go. Like man, it's cats like this who, when they got that badge on, these cats be believing they got all the power and force in the world. Take that badge off, you will get your ass mangled. Big slow ass nigga. And so he think that's all he got to do is just step up and he gonna intimidate somebody. You kill cats like that with the law. Big niggas like that, you kill cats like that with the law.
Reek, let's leave. Come on, because we're threatening to be arrested in this public building. Come on.
Okay, yeah, this is a public building. We don't have any bad intentions, but
Come on, let's leave.
We have freedom of the press. You guys want to protect the Constitution.
So we've been threatened to be arrested, and this guy here is this tough guy here.
Don't touch me, dude.
That's an assault. See that? That's an assault. And
are you afraid to leave? Wow. I'm going, man.
they called all these people out here.
Look at that.
And the undercover guy.
Look at all them damn cops. They called out and the SWAT.
That's the tough guy right there. That's the tough guy who hides behind his badge. His name is Crawford.
Wow. What did I tell you? The shit ton of cops were gonna arrive in there.
I kicked that dude right in his neck. All right, let's keep moving. So basically everything else, they just come out, keep trying to intimidate him while they keep filming while they just hang out and trying to intimidate them to leave. All right, so we'll go over. I had some more videos, but we'll go over the next one. We'll go over those next week. So I want y'all, the last part of this, I want y'all to be able to get familiar with looking up some laws in your state. So who want to go first?
I'll go.
All right. It's cheating, Mel. You already done did this. You had already plastered all the damn laws, but go ahead, though. You can show them how to do it.
So what do you want to look for?
I want you to go to I want you to find your state website, the state government website, first off. So all of you can do this. You can all share your screen. You got some reclining airline seats on your shit. What the hell was that? Wait a minute. No, so go to Google. No, go to Google. You already got it in here. That's why I didn't want you to do it. You just went straight to what was already there. This is supposed to be learning how to do it. So show them how did you find your state website?
Well, when I was looking for bonds.
Don't do bonds. Don't do bonds because that's not how you want to find your website. First off, you don't want to look up bonds right off the bat. So there you go. So you can type in Georgia laws. There you go. Whatever your state is, Kentucky state government codes, stuff like that. Statutes, state statutes, things of that nature. So it's gonna bring you to the same thing. So see what comes up. Most of you'll find this right here where it says Georgia.gov. Most of you have your state.gov.
Basically, I was supposed to be in two. All right.
Yo,
I hope I'm in the middle of it.
Somebody's talking in the background. All right. Oh, Mel, I muted you on accident. All right. Go ahead.
Okay, so you can go here.
Yeah. No, I want you to go back and click on. Did you click on Georgia Gov?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. So up at the top. So these are. Does it say statutes? So where? Did you type in statutes? That didn't come up?
Well, I put in state laws / statutes.
Oh, go click on. So you see the official code of Georgia. So that's what you're gonna see. Bam. And so boom. So now when you get here, how you find your laws is you got to type in that search bar and it'll light up certain things. So without going to a certain title, just type in arrest and see what comes up. And so see how they're highlighted? So you'll so when you guys go through there, it'll whatever you're looking for, because these codes are so vast, it'll have your word highlighted. And so that's an excuse me, it's an easier way to find what you're looking for when you're dealing with those laws. So you'll go through there, and then at the top, you see how it says, it'll have the section and the title of what you're looking for. So right off the bat, then you look through that, and you're gonna have to do some homework. You're gonna have to look through there and see what the arrest laws are. So duty of arresting officer to take arrested person before judicial officer. Right of arrested person. What was that? I didn't even see. I'm reading the title, man. What you doing?
Oh, I thought you wanted me to go into it.
No, I was just reading the title, just showing them. Let's say right of arrested person to select judicial officer. So that's something like the code that we have in California. That when you get arrested, you can be taken to see a magistrate. See, every state has something like that. If you demand to be taken to see a judge right now because you know the law and you know that you've been railroaded, immediately take me to see a magistrate right now. Boom. So again, this is that law for you. So scroll down a little bit. So see, persons who may issue warrants for arrest, offenders against penal laws, warrant. So all of this is where you'll see. Now, you may go through there and then find some stuff that's interesting that, that may not have anything, initially to do with police stops, but, may roundabout help you out. So look, see, persons who may issue warrants for arrest of offenders against penal codes, warrants. Wait, actually scroll down a little bit. So right in here. Now, excuse me. When you type in two words, it is if the exact title you're looking for, if it's not, if you don't see it highlighted together, it's not about that. So every time you see the two words highlighted together, that's when you want to click in. That's when you want to click into that title when the words are highlighted. If you're looking for a compound, title or something like that. Go back up again. Type in vehicle code. Oh, actually, you got it down there. Actually, let me see. There was in the code. So where's your vehicle code? No. Go back to the list of codes, the titles. Yeah, so it should be down there somewhere. No vehicle code?
It is.
Oh, motor vehicle. Okay. I said motor vehicles. Oh, we just had vehicles. So go into it. So this is what most of y'all should be looking up for traffic, for your traffic violations. This is what allows those police officers to do whatever they do when they stop you in the car. It's mostly through the vehicle code.
Let me get the better one, because I think I goofed when I did that. Okay.
Let me see. What does it say? I can't read. All right. So really quickly, so when you see the term annotated, you're going to see, when you start looking up laws, you're going to see certain codes, and then you'll see ANN written after it, which means annotated. All that means is it has commentary written with the law so that you understand it. All right. So, and note, look at the word note, noted. Okay. So there's commentary from, or legal commentary next to it, or to expound on the law so that you get a well-rounded understanding of what it means. So like you'll go into United States codes, and then there's something called United States codes annotated. So the regular in the United States codes will just have the basic law. When you go into United States codes annotated, it'll have the law, but then it'll have what it meant, or what these people meant when they were, what they tried to mean, or, what the basic breakdown of this law means, the philosophy or the science, the jurisprudence of the law.
Right.
All right. So Mel, you shouldn't have did this first. You was too easy for you. I already knew you knew how to do it. He only did this because none of y'all stepped up. Who else is stepping up right now? Who's second?
Hey, silent acquiescence.
I'll go. I'm on it right now.
All right, go on, Mel. All right, so you see where it says share screen on your thing?
Yeah.
And if you got multiple screens, you can pick which one you want to go to.
There you go. Oh, you already had yours? Yo, did you just pull this up right now?
Yeah.
Oh. Wait, what'd you type in the bar? First of all, you got to go slow, man. This is class. You can't just be jumping in. We got to see your steps on what you're doing. This is learning. So what'd you type in? What'd you do?
Oh, I typed in Alabama state codes.
Typed it into Google?
Yeah.
All right. So now look up your arrest code. Look up arrest. These are the main things y'all want to be dealing with. Arrest, because all of that has disorderly conduct, resisting arrest. All of the things they charge you with are going to be under arrest. Now, whatever that is, that may be the penal code. So in most cases, that's the penal code, but it may be called criminal codes where in some other states. Is that arrest? Oh, okay. So, bam, make an arrest or investigate. Wait, hold on. Wait. Hold up. Go back up. All right. Grand Fourth Amendment jurisprudence has long recognized that the right to make an arrest or investigatory stop necessarily carries with it the right to use some degree of physical coercion. See, this is the law that says how much force they can use against you. You want to be able to learn that. When these niggas touch you, you can be like, nigga. Deadly force versus, again, what I showed you guys last week, deadly force versus reasonable force. And deadly force entails is it's written. So keep scrolling down. Let's see what the rest is here. Went out? Whatever.
I got to charge my phone.
Oh. I was like,
yeah, Apple products do that a lot.
I'm like, whatever. All right,
Apple products do that all the time.
All right, who want to go? Who want to go in there since his phone not charged?
I mean, I would go. I'll go next, but I mean, I'm in California, so I don't even know if you want me to bother.
Oh yeah, we just did last week. But you still need to know how to do it. But yeah, we did. We did that last week. We're not in Cali.
Mark, I'm ready. I'm in Florida.
Oh, good. I think yours is even trickier. You got them stand your ground laws and all that bullshit.
Yep, Florida and Georgia, and I believe Alabama too.
What? Okay, hold on. Just to share content, right?
Say again?
Share content, screen.
Yeah, just share screen, yeah.
Screen recording, photos, Zoom.
No, just screen, just share screen.
Yeah, but another came up.
Oh,
at the top of the screen, there should be a little green tab that says share.
Yeah, that's what I did. And then another pop-up came up that says screen. I touched that. And then the third pop-up comes up that says screen recording, photos, Zoom, Messenger, start broadcast. I guess it's start broadcast. No?
That never comes up when we do it. I don't know. You got the advanced account.
Website URL. Not in. Shit, I can't get in, brothers and sisters. You know.
Wait on. So what? Okay. So wait a minute. It says so when you put share, it says what?
The green arrow box, share content. I click that.
Okay.
Pop-up screen says screen, photos, iDrive, Cloud, Box, Dropbox, Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive, website URL, bookmarks, and whiteboard. And then when I press screen.
Hold on. So wait a minute. So what I'm looking at, yeah, desktop. You don't have desktop? Share desktop?
No, do not.
Because when it clicks share, it should say basic, advanced, and files. And then on basic, it has desktop, whiteboard, iPhone. You don't have any of that?
I'm gonna have whiteboard, but that's about the only thing we both have the same.
So all right, so one more time, read them to me. What you got?
All right, the first one is screen. Next is photo.
The first one is what?
Screen.
Yeah, put that. Hit that.
Yeah, and then the next pop-up comes up. It says everything in the screen, including notifications, will be recorded. Enable do not disturb to prevent unexpected notifications. And then it says screen recording. Then below that it says photos, Zoom, Messenger, start broadcast, and then microphone off.
It doesn't say. It says start broadcast.
Yes.
And you click that and it didn't do anything.
Let's see. The screen recording counting down.
There you go.
Okay, y'all can see me.
But you recording your screen though.
Yes, I'm gonna stop broadcast. Yeah.
Oh, you on your iPhone? You on the iPhone, huh?
Yeah, I'm traveling. I'm on my iPad.
Okay, iPad. Okay, that's why. All right, so yeah, you can share that. I mean, you don't have to record the screen. I think you can stop. But yeah, we saw you. It's only recording. It's only recording what you do. No.
Oh shit. So I mean, what could you see though? Because all I saw was a white screen. I couldn't see my.
Oh, because it hadn't started yet. But you kind of gotta move it to the side. So we saw it. I saw it counting down.
Okay, hold on.
All right, I see you now.
What do you see?
Zoom, where it says Zoom.
Yeah.
There's an option at the bottom that says stop broadcast.
No, don't stop broadcast. click Zoom.
Yeah. All right, it's not doing anything.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Stop broadcast. Or click around on the side of it. Like.
All right. Sure. Yeah, I just says you are sharing screen, but I can't see my.
You can't see nothing? Huh. So you just click chat. I can see everything you got. Oh, you know what? Click the video, start video, because you got the screen off. That's why.
Oh, here you go.
Wait a minute. Or no, click that back on. Click that back on. So on your share screen, yeah, hold up. Share device audio on. So when you can't see anything on your screen that you're doing, you can't see your screen at all.
I cannot see my desktop. I can only see, I guess, what you guys are seeing. You are sharing screen and device on.
All right, well, click out. Let somebody else try to go in and see if that's actually.
Hey, Kev, you want me to try?
Yeah.
All right, you said hit this share screen. And then would I go to the whiteboard or the Google Chrome?
Not the whiteboard. You'll have, what are you on, desktop?
Yeah.
It doesn't say desktop? Shared desktop?
No, I didn't. Nah.
So give me the listing of what it says for you.
I got desktop 1, whiteboard, iPhone, iPad, camera.
Desktop 1. Desktop 1.
Desktop 1.
There you go. All right, find me your state website.
All right. I got it.
You in Philly?
Yes.
Pennsylvania. All right.
Would I go to codes and regulations or Pennsylvania statutes?
No, so look where you're looking at. So look at the addresses that you're going to. That's fine law. That's not
okay.
Your state. Go back up. Now what does that say? Where's that coming from?
This is coming from Education PA Gov.
There you go. That's the website.
Okay.
So that's the public school code. Now where's the search bar?
I don't see it.
There
Oh, here's the search right here. All right.
You can type in arrest. This may look it up only in the code. Let's check it out though.
All right.
That's what it came up when you put arrest. Sudden cardiac arrest. Like go back up real quick. So let's see, Act 24.
See, this Pennsylvania Department of Education.
But no. Go back up. See, look. So Act reporting arrest and convictions. Back down. My bad.
Oh, okay. All right, right here.
Yeah, see, reporting arrest and convictions. arrest and conviction report certification. So it's gonna be around them codes somewhere. You're gonna have to search in. You're gonna have to search in those.
Okay.
Or type in because I don't know if you have a penal code or if you have a criminal code, but you can try both of them. Pennsylvania penal code. But it seems like acts, laws, and regulations. Go to like acts, laws, and regulations.
All right.
Oh, so this is still for school. This is still for school shit.
Yeah, it's for school.
So you got to get to the main menu for like. So this is the school. This is the school government website.
Okay.
So, see where it says PDE?
Yes.
Government code. Let's go put in Pennsylvania PA and try and spell the whole. Oh, wait a minute. There it is. Pennsylvania state code or Pennsylvania statutes. All that. Any of those. That's it. At the top.
This version.
It's the General Assembly. That's your government.
Okay. Now type in arrest.
So yeah, these are all your codes. So, type in arrest at the top. Or legislation. Go to legislation.
All right.
No, at the top. Legislation.
Oh, okay. All right.
Or statutes. So there's legislation and there's statutes. And then bam. So legislation is going to be laws that are probably bills that are sitting in waiting to be ruled on. So like California has California has like hundreds of bills sitting to be waiting to be turned, to be voted on by the Senate. So that's the same thing. So this is where you want to be.
Okay. All right, cool.
Consolidated consolidated statutes, all that type of stuff.
Okay, we mark that.
So like go to consolidated statutes and type in arrest, so you can kind of get the feel of see where you can find that stuff.
All right.
All right. You go back up real quick. Crimes and defense. Okay. Is a search bar? No search bar?
Yes.
All right, arrest. It didn't highlight yours?
No. It just got the House bills came up, but it's not highlighted.
Nigga, what are you, a Hawkeye or some shit, nigga? Why is your writing so little? This nigga got third eye sight on this motherfucking shit. Make the font bigger. God damn. You got Santa Claus coming and shit? What the fuck? All right, so I can't see because yours are not highlighted and you got the shit so small. I told you my eyes are bad today. So you got to go through there and just and look up procedural arrest, for officers and stuff like that. So powers of policemen, see? Bam, bam, bam.
Right.
You go. And you got constables. I forgot. So you got constables and shit.
Oh, okay. I got constable, huh?
You got constables. We don't got that in California. We don't got no constable. They got that in Texas too. So this is for you. That's so when you go in there, you want to look up your laws on arrest. Here right here, and then make sure you specifically get the laws pertaining to procedural arrest. So you basically just because they'll have arrests for different types of things, but you want traffic stop arrest, police stop arrest.
Okay. Hey, Karen, can I ask you a quick question? Did you ever see that the Moore brother in Pittsburgh, his stop?
Which one?
The brother in Pittsburgh, he a Moore, he got his flag, he in the white truck.
Yeah. I was gonna show that today, but it ain't enough time.
Yo, man, that's enough inspiration to get your joint changed or do something different, man.
I'm not gonna show that. I'm not gonna show that video the way you think. I'm not gonna show the video the way you think.
Okay, I can't wait then. All right.
Brother got swept up. I promise you. When them cameras got turned off.
Oh yeah.
Followed that nigga till them cameras got turned off and smacked that nigga.
Oh man, so it's another video, huh?
No, I'm just saying. No, what I'm saying is that's probably what they try. I don't know that they did that for sure, but that's.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's the reason they allowed him to do what he was doing at the stop, because they had planned to get him later.
Oh, okay. All right. It was one step ahead of him.
It wasn't the fact that what he was saying was correct. It wasn't at all. It was too many people around for them to first off, I don't think they didn't know everything he was talking about, so they didn't want to just mess up and might be wrong.
Right.
But the other factor of that was everybody that was around who was recording, and and they were all loving the fact that he was gangstering up on them niggas. So they was, he was kind of a superhero at the time. And what I'm saying, if they had jacked him, if they had touched him at any point in time, they know they'd have probably had to kill him to take him in.
Right. I thought he had on one of your shirts on the Dragon Moore joint.
Nah. But they would have probably had to kill old boy to take him in, which is why they didn't want to do that on camera like that.
Okay, all right.
So then they let old boy drive off, and now I don't know if they did anything with him after that or not, because you don't see no other videos. But what I'm saying, they didn't let him go because they believed in what he was saying.
Okay. All right. Hey, you always talk about gangster. He was definitely gangster.
Yeah, he was gangster the motherfucker, but he wasn't wrong. Be gangster and wrong. All right, who next? Anyone? Come on, y'all. Y'all don't know it. Y'all ain't done it. Y'all don't know it. Come on in here. We got a gang of quiet niggas. What the hell?
Bro, Jason.
Oh, Jason know how to do this already. Jason been studying. Anyone else who hasn't done it? Come on, y'all. I see Jordan. I see Denzel. I see Roger. And y'all know how to look up y'all state laws?
Yeah, I said I was gonna go earlier, but I'm in California. But
oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, we did that already.
Jordan, Denzel.
Oh, brother Jason at work anyway.
Is that a no? Jordan and Denzel, y'all ain't trying to look up your laws. They must not be able to answer. All right. So nobody else want to look up their laws, but so for next week though, what I want y'all to bring me, I want to know your state law on arrest for violation of an infraction or public offense. The procedure for the officer. Excuse me. I want to know the procedure for violation of an infraction or public offense, the arresting procedure for the officer. That's what y'all need to know. That's the most important thing, pretty much, too. You know, if y'all, if you're aware of what they're able and not able to do when they jump the line, then you pretty much got them. So that's the most important thing, because they always threaten you. That's the big threat. You want to go to jail? You want to get arrested? Okay, then nigga, stop using that. Stop with that bullshit. It's like a boxer with excuse me, a boxer with a good jab. You know, once you time the jab, you can't use it no more. But if you don't time the jab, motherfucker will be a champion for 10, 11 years, like Vladimir Klitschko. This motherfucker couldn't box at all, but this nigga's jab was like the greatest thing in the world. You couldn't get past it. So this nigga was undefeated for 10, 11 years straight. Till somebody figured out that damn jab. Joshua figured out that jab and put him on his ass. But so same thing. They're gonna keep using it until you learn how to counter. Go ahead, what you about to say?
No, I was gonna say, can you just repeat that one more time? What we the procedure on what now? What kind of arrest?
The arresting procedure for officers in violation of an infraction or public policy. That's what it's called in California. It's called public policy. So an infraction of public policy. So it may be called just a violation of infraction or violation of public policy. You can type in words like disorderly or stuff like that. It may bring up, disorderly conduct. It may bring up the arresting procedure for that code. Things that you might get arrested for. You got to be creative when you're looking in here, because they're called codes for a reason. They don't want anyone to be able to figure this shit out. If they really wanted you to know, they would just put 3 lines and say, don't do this. Don't do this, or the police officer can do that. But they don't want you to do that. They don't want you to know. They want it to be vague and you can be confused with the legal terminology and all this and that. So, this is the end game. They again, I keep going back to this. They count. they count on you not knowing. These niggas ain't gonna look that shit up. I promise you, these niggas ain't gonna look that shit up. Man, go just throw this motherfucker in the jail. He not gonna know. He ain't gonna fucking know. That's the talk they had with each other all the time. Turn your camera off. Cut that camera off. Because if you turn the camera off, then that means if I don't get it on camera, you ain't gonna know enough to hold me accountable. The camera don't hold me accountable. You don't know enough to hold me accountable. So then I'm not accountable.
True.
That's the reason. Like Toy Battle, he said, "I got my camera." He said, "Don't worry, I have my camera on." He said, "That don't matter. You didn't turn it on. You ain't recording because you didn't turn it on." So you got to know when to hit these cats. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want there to be this big war of citizens against police officers, because ultimately you want to be trying to create some type of nexus between the ones who are really out there trying to do right and weed out the fucked up ones. But you're gonna have to hit them with you have to kind of smack them first, Mike Tyson punches, before they get to that point, because they don't believe that you're in the same weight class with them. So until you get, you Buster Douglas them motherfuckers. And I'm using a lot of boxing references because I'm a boxer, I'm a fighter. But this is terminology because that's what's happening. This is some, you either hit or be hit, get your ass knocked out. That's what's going on, with the legal system. They count on you not being able to know, their fighting style. Until you get your ass in there and, like Mike Tyson, be pulling up your mouthpiece off the ground, chewing on it, nigga, like it's some Tums or some shit. So we had any questions from what we talked about today? Nope, y'all good?
See, is there any laws you want us to look up?
Yeah, the arrest. Yeah, I want you to look up the laws on arrest procedure in your state, because they're going to differ. I want you, and then because when y'all bring them back, I want y'all to see how the arrest procedure is going to differ from state to state.
All right.
So, and so it's going to be violation. So it's going to be, you're going to be looking up misdemeanors, felonies. So those are going to be where you're going to get arrested. But just type in arrest in your thing. Just say or arrest procedure, and it should come up. But if not, get creative with that shit, man. You know, that's really how you find out things. You got to get creative with the keywords, and then you'll pull some stuff up. And then while you're in there, look up official bonds and shit like that. Get used to that shit. Now that you're on there and you see where all the laws are that run these niggas, look up official bonds. Type that shit in. Or oaths and bonds. Oath and bonds, or is either plural oaths and bonds or singular oath and bond. Anything else?
Oath and bond.
Yep. Because their bond is tied to their oath. You can't break it apart. They violate that oath, they take that bond.
And they usually owe it to the governor.
You say what?
And they usually owe it to the governor at some point.
What do you mean?
The governor has to have access to it, according to what I've read so far.
What are you talking about in the state of Georgia? That's in your state. So the obligee, the one who benefits from the bond, they have to be listed as usually the superior, your state, the governor, something like that requires you to have the bond. But that doesn't mean that the bond is payable to them. That they're the beneficiary of the bond. There has to be a name of a beneficiary of the bond in order for you to issue the bond. Now, any person can go file a lien on the bond if you feel your rights have been violated. Anyone. So, the last thing I'll leave y'all with, you can't get federal employees don't have bonds. So we're going as far as just keeping up with the bond information. So if you guys buy the bond book, I didn't put that in the bond book. That's extra information that you guys don't know. Federal employees don't have bonds. They have something called FEPLI, which is Federal Employee Public Liability Insurance. So when they violate your rights, any public employee, they violate your rights, they're personally liable. They don't have a bond. That means you can go after them personally and sue them. And it says that right in the law. It says they're not required to have bonds, but this does not release any public employee from personal liability.
So you're saying like FBI,
yep,
CIA, GS employees or whatever in the government?
The action, and there's an action for it. It's called Bivens actions. A lawsuit against a federal employee is called a Bivens action.
Bivens with a B?
Like Michael Bivens.
Gotcha.
Bell Biv DeVoe. So it's called the Bivens action. And so those are lawsuits against federal employees. Only one you can't do a Bivens action against is federal judges. They have absolute immunity to litigation, to lawsuits. However,
yeah, I was just gonna say, like, okay, for federal judges, got it. Okay.
It's federal judges. You cannot sue a federal judge, no matter what. That's Supreme Court ruled law. You cannot sue a federal judge. But like I said, however, a federal judge is also a state judge, which means they have to have bonds. All state laws require every judge, every official to have a bond. So the federal government doesn't require them to have a bond, but the state does. Just a little something right there that y'all don't know. See, they try to trick you with that little shit. Well, you can't sue a judge? Oh, no, okay, you're right. But I can pull this nigga's bond. Or I can get him recused using the rules of judicial procedure. or the rules of judicial conduct. Everyone has those. Every state has rules of judicial conduct. You can get a judge recused for bias, and bias can be anything that he does that shows, repute against your case. Meaning, if he laughs, if he snickers, if he rolls his eyes when you're trying to present your case, boom. Oh, you're biased, nigga. You think what I'm saying is bullshit right off the bat. You've already decided. You've already made up your mind. So you got to go. So you can do that, and you can pull their bond. But if you just read the law, you would think that judges could just fuck you all they wanted. But they don't. They can't do that. No one is without checks and balances. Because if they gave judges that damn law, that right, then the rich people would be fucked over. But the rich people got to have an out, just in case the judges come for them. So boom. So, anything else? Any other questions?
I was like, that'll do it.
So y'all can look that up. FEPLI. It's called Federal Employee Federal Employee Public Liability Insurance. That's how you sue federal employees. FBI agents, not state, but federal officers, all of that. That's all Bivens actions. All right, y'all good?
Yep, appreciate you as always.
Yeah.
Yo, man, make sure y'all study, man. Because right now we're gonna need groups of people who know this law super well, because y'all don't even know what y'all doing. Y'all learning the law together like this, learning it really well creates a community of cats. So y'all can bounce this stuff off each other when y'all get in trouble, or you know what I'm saying. Create a bigger organization of people who know the law if y'all study it well enough to be able to go out and preach it and teach this stuff to the young cats. That's really who needs this shit. Honestly, it's the young ones. Old niggas, we kind of can handle ourselves a little bit. We get emotional, but it's the young cats. They railroad them constantly, all day, every fucking day. So we start teaching these kids this at 14, 13, 14, 15. Man, when they get 19, 18, 19, dude, they'll be killing these damn officers. And they the most social media savvy motherfuckers too. So teach them niggas the law with social media and see how the world changes after that. It'd be crazy. But y'all gotta learn it first in order to teach it to the young kids. Yeah. All right, y'all, I'm getting a little hungry. About to get me some food.
All
right. I'll let y'all next week.
Yep.
All right. Yep.
Goes.